The seventh prince of the Lai kingdom suffered all kinds of hardships because of his congenital heterochromia. His small body slowly sank to the bottom of the river. Suddenly, a bolt of purple lightning struck from the sky. Ning Huaiming, who had already stopped breathing, abruptly opened his eyes. All his past memories flashed through his mind like a fleeting glimpse of flowers on horseback. The choking sensation from the river water brought him back to his senses. He struggled with all his might to climb ashore. A violent cough proved this was not an illusion. Looking at the familiar place in his own shrunken hands, although it was incredible he had really returned. Perhaps even the heavens felt they owed me, Ning Huaiming, so they gave me a chance to start over? He clenched his fists tightly, his heart filled with soaring ambitions. Suddenly, he was interrupted by the loud cry of a baby. The sound was as if it were right next to his ear, but he was certain there couldn't possibly be a baby nearby. He couldn't figure out what was going on. Is this a side effect of rebirth? At the same time, 100 li away in the Prince Pingyan's mansion, the cries of a newborn baby echoed throughout the entire courtyard. She's born! She's born! Crying so loudly. She must be a healthy and lively little girl. She's bound to have a limitless future. But why is the young miss crying so hard? No one knew that inside the body of the newborn baby lived the soul of an adult. Zhu Yuji, who had inexplicably transmigrated, was ranting wildly in her heart. If you knew you were going to kick the bucket tonight, you'd be crying even louder than me. She had thought that transmigrating into a young lady of a noble house meant life would be a piece of cake, as long as nothing went wrong. But the bad part was, she had transmigrated into a cliché, angsty novel where the male lead annihilates the female lead's entire family. The male lead, Prince Ping and Zhu Qiaosheng, was this body scumbag father. And her mother, Lu Ruyan, despite being the esteemed princess consort, was just a villainous cannon fodder character in the original novel. Alas, the even worse news was that her mother and the female lead gave birth to daughters at the same time. Her psychotic scumbag father, in order to give the daughter of his true love a legitimate identity, had sent someone to swap the two babies. And now, the matron arranged by her scumbag father had already covered her mouth and nose with her sinful hands. In the original story, this is how she was unfortunately suffocated to death during the swap, becoming a plot device in the male and female leads drama. Although it was a disastrous start of epic proportions, with her adult mind, she immediately played dead to survive this deadly situation. Sure enough, seeing this, the matron really thought she had suffocated her. She placed her in the basket with relief. Anyway, the prince doesn't care for this child. I'll just find someone to dispose of the body later. As the matron turned to make preparations, Zhu Yuji, cursing under her breath, viciously pulled the fake young Mrs. hair, trying to make her cry out and attract her mother's people's attention. But the fake young Mrs. cries were too soft. Zhu Yuji then landed a hard punch on the fake young Mrs. face. This time, the crying gradually grew louder. She herself also let out a couple of wails. This time, she finally startled her mother, who had just given birth. Lu Ruyan hurriedly asked her personal maid what was wrong. Why did it seem like I heard my daughter's voice? The maid looked bewildered. Wang Fei, you must have misheard. How could a newborn baby talk? Suddenly, she clearly heard two babies crying from the next room. The head maid thought to herself, this is bad. Her own Wang Fei had only given birth to one. Two sets of cries definitely meant something was fishy. She quickly had someone take the young miss to the front hall. Meanwhile, over here, the flustered matron was caught red-handed. Zhu Yuji's third brother, Zhu Zijian, kicked the matron aside. You old hag, what are you trying to do to my sister? When his eyes fell on the cradle, he was stunned. So this old hag wasn't trying to kill someone, but staging a real and fake young miss drama? The Prince Ping and of Yu Kingdom, in order to give the daughter of his true love a legitimate identity, plotted to swap the daughter born to his own Wang Fei. Fortunately, Zhu Yuji, possessing an adult soul, saved herself and attracted the head maid. Holding the cradle with two babies, she hurried to Lu Ruyan. She had been taking care of her mistress and hadn't seen the young miss yet, so she was at a loss. Zhu Zijian dragged the evil matron and followed into the room, waiting for his mother to confront and punish her. Lu Ruyan slowly sat up. She had fallen into a weak sleep right after giving birth. She hadn't had a chance to see her child yet. Now, looking at the two babies in the cradle, she couldn't tell which one was the daughter she had given birth to. Just then, Zhu Yuji's father, Prince Pingyan, received news of the failure and rushed over. He pretended not to know what had happened, looking anxious and putting on the appearance of a loving father. Seeing this, the headmaid quickly explained, "Your Highness, we don't know who instructed this matron. She brought in a child and tried to swap the young miss amidst the chaos. It was too chaotic just now, and we servants didn't get a clear look at the young miss's face. Now that the two are together, we can't tell them apart." Prince Pingyan looked at the two babies in the cradle, feeling a little guilty. He could tell at a glance that the baby in the pink swaddle was his beloved daughter. Although the matter was now out in the open, he felt he could still manipulate the situation. After all, Lu Ruyin was easy to deceive. So he sat by the bed and gently asked Lu Ruyin for her opinion. As long as Lu Ruyin was confused, he could openly make the switch. Lu Ruyin was indeed as confused as he had hoped. She stared intently at the two babies. Seeing one baby wailing loudly, her maternal love overflowed, and she reached out to comfort her. The fake young miss coincidentally grabbed her finger and stopped crying. Zhu Yuji's eyes widened in disbelief. "Isn't this a bit too much of coincidence? My mother will be easily fooled like this." Seeing this, Prince Ping and quickly spoke up to settle the matter. "Ruyin, this child grabbed your hand as soon as you reached out. She must be our daughter." Seeing her scumbag father being so blatant and impatient, Zhu Yuji burned with anger. She slapped the fake young Mrs. hand away. She tightly gripped Lu Ruyin's finger with both hands, cursing inwardly. "What league are you in? How dare you touch my mother?" Lu Ruyin froze, puzzled. "Why do I seem to hear a milky, baby-like voice?" Zhu Yuji, seeing her mother staring at her without moving, wailed at her heart. Hold me. Oh, mother, I'm your real daughter. The one next to me is a knockoff." This time, Lu Ruyin understood. That milky, baby-like voice was coming from the baby in front of her. It seemed she could hear her thoughts. Could this be the telepathic bond between mother and daughter? Prince Pingyan, who was beside her, noticed Lu Ruyin was gradually being won over by the daughter she had borne. He hurriedly spoke to interrupt, gesturing to the evil matron. "Quick, say it. Which of the two children is Ruyin's?" The evil matron received the signal and insisted that the fake young miss in the pink swaddle was the young miss born to the Wang Fei. Zhu Yuji instantly understood her scumbag father's strategy and started cursing in her heart again. "You old coot, are you playing the real and fake Monkey King? I have God's eye view. Don't think I don't know. This child next to me is the one you had with your little true love outside. You want to kill me to make way for your illegitimate daughter? In your dreams." Lu Ruyin heard all these words in her heart. She suddenly looked up at Prince Pingyan and realized he couldn't seem to hear the baby's thoughts. She also thought to herself that her husband had always been simple and honest. How could he have someone outside? But Prince Pingyan seized the opportunity, directly picking up the fake young miss and holding her lovingly in his arms. "Daddy's good girl. You've suffered. Daddy will immediately take care of this wretch who bullied you." Saying this, he was about to order someone to throw Zhu Yuji out and dispose of her. Lu Ruyin shouted, "Husband, wait. We haven't gotten to the bottom of this. Acting so rashly would be improper." Her originally firm heart wavered because of Prince Pingyan's impatient act of claiming the child. "My husband's actions are indeed very suspicious." Zhu Zijian also spoke up in agreement. "Yes, father. Mother is right. We don't know who instructed this old woman. We must force her to reveal who is behind this." The evil matron, having received Prince Pingyan's hint, immediately knelt down to beg for forgiveness. "Wang Fei, Shitzi, it was I who was blinded by greed, seeing the wealth and splendor of the prince's mansion. I wanted my own granddaughter to live a good life. That's why I audaciously tried to swap the babies. It is all my fault." Zhu Yuji saw the person arranged by her scumbag father twisting the truth, speaking so plausibly. But she was just a newborn baby and couldn't expose their lies. "It seems I can't get past this hurdle of dying at birth. Oh well." She threw up her hands and gave up. "Isn't it just lying on a plank and getting reincarnated? Goodbye, mother." Lu Ruyin heard her thoughts and saw her resigned expression, feeling a sudden pang of pain. She turned to look at her husband. "Prince Pingyan, husband, this wicked servant is very cunning. What if she risks her life and insists that her granddaughter is the one I gave birth to? Wouldn't that let her succeed?" Seeing this, Prince Pingyan had no choice but to proceed to the next step. Wife, you have a point. How about a blood paternity test? Hearing her scumbag father's words, Zhu Yuji started cursing again. She really wanted to tell her mother that this was another of her scumbag father's schemes. Lu Ruyan saw her flailing her limbs as if trying to say something, but she couldn't hear her thoughts. After a moment of surprise, she had an epiphany. Do I have to touch her to hear it? She decisively reached out and touched her. Sure enough, as soon as she made contact, the incessant baby voice filled her ears. The blood paternity test can be faked. Scumbag dad must have added alum powder to the water. Then, in a moment, it will confirm a relationship between me and the old hag. Heavens, I'm begging you. I'm willing to trade my scumbag dad's lifespan for my mother to never be deceived by a scumbag in her entire life. If that's not enough, add his true love from the outside too. The information in this passage truly shocked Lu Ruyan. At this moment, Prince Ping had already ordered someone to bring a bowl of water. Wife, this wicked servant says the baby in the basket is her granddaughter. Why don't we test them? These words completely shattered the filter Lu Ruyan had for Prince Ping and in her heart. It's just as the baby said, my husband has deceived me. The gentleness around her receded. Zhu Yuji sneered in her heart. See, I told you so. This world is just one big empresses in the palace. Lu Ruyan heard the baby's thoughts. Coupled with Prince Ping and suggestion for the blood paternity test, it shattered the filter in her heart and made her believe that the baby's thoughts were true. The deep gentleness around her completely vanished. She responded calmly, let's do as my husband says. Then she secretly gave a look to her personal maid, signaling her to ruin the blood paternity test. The head maid had served Lu Ruyan since childhood. She understood her mistress's signal and nodded. Then she deliberately tripped the evil matron. This caused the matron to take a hard fall, and in doing so, she ruined the doctored water. The evil matron's heart trembled. She didn't know what kind of bad luck she had run into today. She quickly explained that someone had pushed her. Lu Ruyan stared at her coldly. The person standing behind you just now was Lubi. Lubi is my person. She, more than anyone, hopes to find out who my child is. How could she possibly push you? Lubi, bring another bowl of water. We'll test again. Now, Prince Ping was getting a little restless. Suddenly, a gentle voice came from the doorway. Why get us so much trouble? Lu Ruyan and Prince Ping's eldest son, Zhu Jima, slowly walked in. He cupped his hands in greeting. Your son pays his respects to father and mother. I was listening outside for a moment. I believe the blood paternity test method is unreliable. Mother, do you remember that before you were pregnant with my sister, you accidentally fell into a frozen lake and contracted a cold illness? The doctor once asserted that the cold illness would also be passed on to the child in your womb. Lu Ruyan nodded. This method of identification was the most reliable and effective. Hearing this, Zhu Yuji had an epiphany. No wonder I've been feeling so drowsy and like I'm about to die since just now. I really want to drag that author out and beat them up. A disastrous start is one thing, but they also stacked a weak and sickly debuff on me, as if I wasn't dying fast enough. Prince Ping, holding his illegitimate daughter, felt his heart panic, but he guided the conversation with an extremely calm expression. Let's continue with the blood test. It will take a lot of time to summon a doctor now. But before he could finish, he was interrupted by his eldest son. Father, about that. I happen to bring a doctor back with me. Let him examine my sister. Prince Ping didn't expect his eldest son to be so well prepared, blocking his excuse. He silently shut his mouth, knowing that swapping his daughter today was impossible. He pondered how to protect his illegitimate daughter. The doctor came over, took one look, and exclaimed, "This is not good. The child has a high fever." These words were tantamount to a verdict. The baby before her was the daughter she had borne. Lu Ruyan no longer hesitated and picked up the child, her heart full of worry. Prince Ping, however, was as indifferent as an outsider. His cold demeanor, juxtaposed with Lu Ruyan's worried expression, was seen by Zhu Yuji. She forced herself to stay alert and smiled faintly, chanting in her heart, "Mother, don't panic. According to the laws of transmigration, I'm the protagonist now. I won't die." Lu Ruyan was warmed by her daughter's words, but also heartbroken by her husband's betrayal. Tears fell uncontrollably. "My daughter will definitely be fine." Prince Ping, seeing the situation was settled, handed the illegitimate daughter to a bribed maid. "Ruyan, you're right. Our daughter will definitely be fine. In my opinion, this wicked servant should be beaten to death, and then this bastard child should be thrown out." Lu Ruyan had already seen through her husband's act, shedding that layer of affection. She became as hard as iron. She declared loudly, "There's no need for that, husband. Men, take this bastard child and the wicked servant away and lock them up. Without my permission, no one is allowed to enter. If anything happens to my daughter, I will definitely find the person behind this and have them sliced into 1,000 pieces." Zhu Yuji waved her little hands and made a heart gesture at her mother. Mother is so cool. As expected, Prince Ping and had a feeling that the Wang Fei was hinting at him. Guilt and unease intertwined within him. Zhu Zhima noticed that the atmosphere between his father and mother was a bit strange. He wondered what was wrong with them. Meanwhile, in the seventh prince's chambers, Ning Huaiming, who was trapped in a dream, suddenly woke up with a start, his clothes soaked with sweat. He was baffled. In his dream just now, he had felt drowsy, irritable, and even had a near-death sensation. But upon waking, there was nothing wrong. Moreover, unlike the baby's cry he heard last time, this time he heard a faint murmur, as if calling for mother. Whose voice is that? Could it be that someone has given me a poison that causes hallucinations? After the child-swapping incident, Rian no longer dared to let her daughter out of her sight. She held her all night, refusing to let go. The headmaid had to speak up and remind her, "Wang Fei, please hand the young miss to me. You've watched over the fifth young miss all night without sleep. I'm afraid your body won't be able to take it." Lu Rian looked at her sleeping daughter in her arms and shook her head. "It was my negligence that made her suffer this ordeal. If I don't watch her with my own eyes, I can't rest easy." At this moment, Zhu Yuji woke up. The instant she opened her eyes, she saw a flawless face and was completely stunned. Mother is so beautiful. Seeing the young miss was awake, the headmaid tactfully went to fetch the wet nurse. Lu Rian saw her daughter staring at her without blinking and wondered what she was thinking. She gently stroked her daughter's cheek with her hand. Her daughter's milky voice echoed in her ears again. "Oh my God, my own mother. She's so gorgeous. This beauty could control me for a lifetime." As expected of the legendary Rian, who has been a scumbag, been poor, been rich, been down and out, been vicious, but has never been ugly. No wonder she can occupy half of the online novel world. She happily nuzzled in Lu Rian's arms. "From now on, I'm a child with a mother too." Hearing her daughter's cheerful thoughts made Lu Rian's mood lighten a little. "Xiao Wu, you are mother's youngest daughter. Mother and your eldest, third, and fourth brothers will protect you well. And your father." At this point, she abruptly paused, remembering the child-swapping incident. How could her husband be good to his own daughter? "Since I entered the prince's mansion, apart from side consort Jiang, who was taken in before me, Zhu Qiaosheng has never taken another consort. The world says Prince Ping and is madly devoted to his wife. But if not for Xiao Wu's birth, I would never have known he had a so-called true love outside. To be kept in the dark by this false affection for so many years." Lu Rian fell silent. Her mood grew heavy as well. Zhu Yuji sensed her mother's emotional shift. She must be thinking about scumbag dad. She reached out her chubby little hands. She tried to draw her mother's attention. The clumsy yet heartwarming action made Lu Rian's heart melt. She smiled happily, the scumbag man forgotten. She intimately nuzzled her good girl. Zhu Yuji's heart also bloomed with joy. Although there's a sense of shame, like an old cow eating young grass, this feeling of being a treasure child with a mother is really great. Lu Rian heard her thoughts and felt her daughter was a bit starved for love. In that case, she would have to give her more affection. She planted a kiss on her daughter's chubby cheek. Zhu Yuji's face turned red. She screamed internally, "Mother's scent is so nice. Mother kissed me. Mother's lips are so soft. I like mother so much." Seeing this, Lu Rian laughed joyfully. "Is our little Xiao Wu shy? Xiao Wu is so cute." The mother and daughter played happily. As they were happily bonding, the eldest, Zhu Zhima, walked in. "Mother, I came to see you and Xiao Wu." "How is Xiao Wu?" He carefully looked at his little sister. Her eyes were clear and bright. The way she stared blankly back at him was so cute. She seemed to be fine. So he straightened up and looked solemnly at Lu Rian. "Mother, there is something I don't understand. You locked up that wicked servant and forbid anyone from visiting. You even forbade father from going. And last night, I saw your people take away the bowl from the blood paternity test. You suspect there was a problem with the water, don't you?" Lu Ruyin lowered her head without speaking. She knew her eldest son had always been intelligent and must have noticed something was wrong. But her daughter's ability was too strange to explain directly. She remained silent for a long while, having heard her daughter's thoughts. She raised her head and asked tentatively, "Jima, what do you think of your father?" Jima narrowed his eyes. "Mother, do you really want me to say it? Mother, do you remember back when the heir was being appointed? I once said I had no intention of inheriting the title. After that, rumors spread that my second brother, born to side consort Jiang, would inherit the title. I found it strange at the time. Consort Jiang is cautious and prudent. Even if I didn't become the heir, she would never have spread such a rumor. Afterwards, father went to court and reported to His Majesty that he had already made up his mind. The heir would only be the son of his legal wife. He asked the emperor to name my third brother as the heir. At that time, many ministers in the court praised father for loving his wife as his own life. They all said Prince Ping and was a good son-in-law, and that maternal grandfather could rest assured in promoting him. Later, father's reputation for doting on his wife spread far and wide. It was also from this time that father, who had only held an idle post since inheriting his title, entered the Ministry of Revenue with grandfather's support. From that moment on, I always felt that father was not a simple and honest person. I asked you several times how father treated you. You should have some impression of that, right? Lu Ruyin thought back carefully, feeling an indescribable heartache. So Jima had reminded me so early on. It's a pity I was immersed in love, blind and deaf to it all. Zhu Yuji sensed her mother was about to break down again. She quickly reached out with both hands to cup her mother's face, not letting her sink into bad emotions. "Mother, scumbag dad isn't worth it," she babbled to get attention. The wise Zhu Jima immediately noticed his little sister was quite precocious and leaned over with a smile. "This little girl, Xiao Wu, seems quite clever. She even knows how to comfort people." He reached out and poked Zhu Yuji's cheek fondly. Zhu Yuji looked at her eldest brother's smiling eyes. She complained in her heart, "No wonder they say people with narrow eyes are all monsters." He actually discovered scumbag dad was up to no good so early on, as expected of the smartest man in the whole book, and also the one who dies the earliest. Zhu Jima heard one exclamation after another in his ear, causing his body to stiffen noticeably. "What the hell? Is that my little sister talking?" The moment Jima touched his newborn little sister, Xiao Wu, he was astonished to discover that he could seemingly hear his sister's thoughts. Before he could show any reaction, his little sister's thoughts dropped a bombshell on him. Originally, Mother Lu Ruyin would soon die of illness. It was scumbag dad who killed mother to marry his true love. After eldest brother noticed something was wrong, he immediately began to investigate the cause of mother's death. Just then, the emperor issued a decree for him to go on a diplomatic mission to an enemy country for peace talks. However, on his way back, eldest brother was assassinated. After he returned, having barely escaped with his life, he completely turned to the dark side and became the 9,000-year-old eunuch by the emperor's side, in order to climb to the pinnacle of power. That he killed loyal ministers and framed good people, creating countless unjust cases. In the end, he met his demise by being dismembered by 5 horses. Recalling this, Zhu Yuji squeezed Zhu Jima's hand even tighter. She babbled while sighing in her heart, "Oh, brother, be a good person from now on. I'll be watching you." Lu Ruyin saw her eldest son's mouth twitch slightly, just like her own reaction when she first heard her daughter's thoughts. She guessed her son could hear them too and gave him a slight shake of her head. Thinking of her son's future fate of being dismembered by 5 horses, her eyes filled with terror and worry. Zhu Jima suppressed the shock in his heart and quickly began to analyze. This newborn little sister seems to be able to foresee the future. No wonder mother had such a sudden change. It's probably related to Xiao Wu's ability. I wonder if other people can hear it too. Zhu Jima planned to test his little sister's abnormality. This must not be known by anyone with ulterior motives. A loud announcement, "The prince has arrived." This made the mother and her 2 sons stiffen. This time, even if Zhu Jima didn't hear his little sister's thoughts, he could tell she was cursing just by looking at her face. Zhu Qiaoxing's voice arrived before he did. "Wife, I heard Xiao Wu is awake." Seeing the mother and son didn't respond, and their expressions were a little strange, he hurriedly went over, putting on the look of a loving father as he looked at Zhu Yuji. "I was so worried last night. The thought of Xiao Wu suffering such an ordeal kept me up all night. Let me hold her." He pushed aside his eldest son and reached out to hold Zhu Yuji. Lu Ruyan, afraid her daughter's secret would be exposed, was just about to say something to stop him. But Zhu Qiaosheng had already picked up the child. Lu Ruyan's heart pounded. If she tried to snatch her back by force, it might draw more attention to her. Suppressing her unease, she carefully observed Prince Ping An's reaction. Zhu Qiaosheng looked at Lu Ruyan, puzzled. "Wife, why are you so nervous?" Saying this, he used his hand to feel the child's forehead. Thankfully, the high fever has subsided. Otherwise, I would have had to go to the palace to find the head of the Imperial Medical Academy. He looked back at the daughter in his arms, who looked like she was resisting him. He found it a bit strange. Lu Ruyan and Zhu Jima both secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness. It seems he didn't discover Xiao Wu's abnormality. Zhu Yuji didn't want to stay in her scumbag dad's arms for a second longer. She suddenly gave a wicked smile. Zhu Qiaosheng's face filled with astonishment. "What's going on?" I actually saw a sly look on a newborn baby's face. Just as he was feeling astonished, he suddenly felt a wetness on his hand. He looked at the child in his arms in disbelief. "Is this pee?" Lu Ruyan, afraid he would subconsciously throw the child, quickly took her daughter back. "You little rascal, why did you pee on your daddy?" To maintain his image as a loving father, Zhu Qiaosheng forced a smile and said, "This means Xiao Wu likes her daddy. This is my good fortune." Lu Ruyan heard her daughter's laughing thoughts. "See, he even has to thank me," and tried hard to suppress her own laughter. After changing the baby, she didn't give Zhu Qiaosheng a single extra glance. Zhu Qiaosheng found it strange, but didn't dwell on it, instead paving the way for his next purpose. "By the way, Ruyan, you still have to decide on Xiao Wu's name." Lu Ruyan looked up, her gaze distant. "Have you forgotten, husband? When I was first pregnant with Xiao Wu, we discussed it. If it was a boy, he'd be named Qizhou, and if a girl, Yuji." Zhu Qiaosheng paused, then quickly tried to cover up his carelessness. "I've been so busy with affairs recently, I actually forgot such an important matter. My memory is getting worse by the day. I deserve a beating." Zhu Yuji rolled her eyes at him and ranted in her heart. "I think you're busy having a deeply angsty romance with Shen Yulan. You, with a bad memory? Shen Yulan had a fiancée before, and you've remembered that for nearly 10 years, bringing it up with her whenever you can. Anyone who didn't know better would think you were a devoted lover." Lu Ruyan heard her daughter's thoughts, which sounded so plausible. Her blackening value soared again. A plan had already formed in her mind. She hid the darkness in her eyes and put on a look of tender affection. "Husband, work is endless. Your health is what's most important." Zhu Yuji thought Lu Ruyan had been fooled by Zhu Qiaosheng and kicked her legs anxiously. "My dear naive mother, please open your eyes. The only time a scumbag is honest is when he's hanging on a wall. Don't be fooled by a scumbag again." Zhu Qiaosheng took Lu Ruyan's hand and poured out his feelings. "Ruyan, as long as it's for you, for our family, I don't feel any hardship. As long as you understand me. No matter how hard it is, it's worth it." Just then, a maid rushed over. "Wang Fei, it's bad. The small house in the mansion's backyard is on fire." When Lu Ruyan heard this, she realized it was the room where the wet nurse who had attempted the leopard cat for Prince Switch and the child of unknown origin were being held. She frowned, wondering how a fire could have started. And what about that wet nurse and the child? Just as the maid was about to reply, she was interrupted by Zhu Qiaosheng. "If that grandmother and grandson are dead, then so be it. You just given birth and shouldn't worry. I'll go check on this fire for you. You just rest and focus on your postpartum confinement." After speaking, he strode out without a second glance. Lu Ruyan watched Zhu Qiaosheng's retreating back, her eyes flickering. To be able to set a fire in the prince's mansion so silently, without alerting the guards. Besides the man who shared her bed, there was no one else. Her son, who had been silent since Zhu Qiaosheng entered, had not made a sound. Zhu Jima saw things even more clearly. He lowered his gaze and said, "Mother consort, your son will also take his leave." Lu Ruyan suddenly called out to him, "Emoer, if one day you enter the court to become an official, Mother consort will help you." Through her daughter's inner voice, Ruyan had recognized her husband as a massive scumbag. She put away her romantic notions and started on the path of her career. She was afraid her eldest son would, as Xiao Wu had said, walk a path of no return in his fight for power. Just as Zhu Jima was about to leave, she suddenly called out to him, "Emoer, if one day you wish to enter the court to become an official, Mother consort will help you." She thought that her own hands could get dirty, but she hoped her children's hands could remain clean. Zhu Jima paused for a moment, then understood what his mother was worried about. He also made a serious declaration. Mother consort, rest assured, if one day your son must stand in a high position, it will only be because there is someone who must be killed that I cannot kill otherwise. As for now, your son does not wish to be a villain. He took his leave again. Lu Rian silently vowed, when you need it, Mother Consort will certainly give her all to help you, and will not let you walk this path with hardship. Once only mother and daughter were left in the room, the head maid entered. She reported in a low voice. Just as the Wangfei predicted, a problem was indeed found with the water used for the blood paternity test last night. Also, this servant just secretly went to take a look. That wet nurse was burned to death, but the child has vanished without a trace. This news made Lu Ruyan's eyes redden, but it also cleared her mind. Since you are unjust, do not blame me for being unrighteous. While changing Zhu Yuji's clothes, the head maid asked apprehensively, does Wangfei need to send people to investigate the child's whereabouts? For a moment, Lu Rian's face was grim, but when her gaze met Zhu Yuji's clear eyes, the grimness instantly vanished. She smiled very gently. No need. In the end, she is just like Xiao Wu. Why should the sins of the parents lead to complete annihilation? Hearing her mother's words, Fu Yuji's eyes filled with admiration. She smiled joyfully, completely oblivious to the determination in Lu Rian's eyes when she looked up. Look at this magnanimity. What vicious female side character. I declare my mom is the embodiment of truth, goodness, and beauty. Hearing her daughter praise her in her heart, Lu Ruyan felt a little guilty. She handed the child to the headmaid. Take Xiao Wu down for a nap. While her daughter's gaze was not on her, she whispered, cut the weeds and pull out the roots to prevent any future trouble. The head maid understood. The master did not want the young miss to witness the darkness. She gave an imperceptible nod. On the other side, Zhu Jima and his trusted guard went to the woodshed. The fire had already been brought under control. He coolly instructed his confidant, have people watch all the exits of the mansion. If you see anyone leaving, be sure to follow them. The confidant reminded him in a low voice, the Wangfei may not want you to get involved. Zhu Jima replied, if the threat is not eliminated, I fear it will cause disaster later. I must be ruthless. Do not, under any circumstances, tell Mother Consort about this matter. After discussing business, he suddenly smiled slyly at his confidant. By the way, do I look very much like a great treacherous minister? The confidant shook his head vigorously. Young master is noble and upright. Not at all. Zhu Jima heard this and said, is that so? It seems I have a talent for being a good person of this era. Emoer says to Mother Consort, I'm sorry, I've broken my promise. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, the seventh prince, Ning Huaiming, was once again trapped in a nightmare. In the dream, he came to a pitch-black place. A voice from the void urged him forward. After every few steps, a screen of light would suddenly appear in the void. Within the screen of light, a beautiful woman was gently rocking a small cradle. She helplessly whispered to the child in the cradle, no matter how much this child likes this luminous pearl, she can't sleep with it. If I had known when my sister gifted this luminous pearl, I shouldn't have let you see it. Watching this scene, Ning Huaiming thought of the baby's cries that often appeared in his dreams. He desperately wanted to know who that child was. He walked towards the screen of light, wanting to see the face of the child in the swaddling clothes. But just as he was about to get close to the swaddling clothes, he found his feet were, as if rooted to the spot, unable to move. The sound of urgent footsteps came from behind him. Everything around him was also changing frantically. The surroundings had transformed into the grand hall, where he held court as the emperor in his previous life. Before he had time to ponder all these changes, the moment he turned around, he found his body had returned to its adult form. Immediately after, a dagger plunged into his abdomen. Ning Huaiming's gaze was fixed on the woman who had stabbed him. The woman was dressed in mourning clothes, her face full of fury. Go to hell. For your ambition, you destroyed Southern Yu and killed my brothers. Yet you still dream of making me marry you. Go to hell and pay for my brothers' lives. Ning Huaiming said nothing. He found all of this absurdly strange. He didn't even know this woman. However, the woman's next words made Ning Huaiming's eyes widen. You think you can control everything just because you were reborn? You schemed so much, but the one thing you didn't account for was my appearance, right? Ning Huaiming couldn't hear the rest of her words clearly, because due to excessive blood loss, his consciousness was slowly fading. He gripped the dagger in his abdomen and shoved the woman, making her stumble back several steps. He saw the dagger stuck in his own abdomen, looking incredulous, because he was very familiar with this dagger. It was his mother's heirloom. Since Ning Huaiming's rebirth, besides frequently hearing a baby's cries, he was also constantly plagued by nightmares. This time, he dreamt that after he grew up, he was stabbed in the abdomen by a woman with a dagger, and it was his own mother's heirloom. It was so bizarre that he woke up abruptly. He subconsciously touched his abdomen and found it perfectly intact, letting out a huge sigh of relief. Thank goodness, it was just a nightmare. He picked up the dagger from beside his pillow and took it out. The warmth coming from the dagger's hilt startled him. Was it really just a dream? Or did it truly foretell something? He had never believed in ghosts or gods before, but all the signs after his rebirth that were overturning his perception of reality. Just as he was in shock, his personal eunuch walked in. "Your Highness, Master Minji has returned." His Majesty heard that the master has returned from his travels and summoned him to the palace early. Ning Huaiming looked up. Perhaps he would find answers after seeing the master. He had the eunuch help him change his clothes. At the same time, on the other side, a sleeping Zhu Yuji sneezed, and then she woke up. Seeing this, Lu Rian thought her daughter was sick again. She worriedly tucked the small blanket around her. "My sweet daughter, why did you sneeze? Did you catch a cold?" Zhu Yuji met Lu Ruyan's worried face and came to her senses. She complained in her heart, Phew, so it was a dream. Mother, you have no idea. What a terrible dream I just had. I dreamt that I killed someone when I grew up, with a swift slice of the knife. That I couldn't control myself at all. Although I don't know who I killed, the scene, at first glance, seemed quite like a tragic romance. Hearing her daughter's inner complaints and seeing her flailing arms and legs, Lu Rian found it incredibly cute. She couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then, she held her daughter's hand to comfort her. "You had a nightmare? Don't be scared. Dreams are fake. My daughter is so cute. As expected of my child." At this moment in the Northern Yin Imperial Palace, Master Minji, holding his staff, was walking step by step towards the palace gate when he saw Ning Huaiming, who had been waiting there for a while. Minji returned the Buddhist greeting, "Amitabha. Your Seventh Highness is waiting for this humble monk here. Could it be that you are in trouble?" Ning Huaiming was delighted. Indeed, nothing can be hidden from a master. He organized his words. "Master, I've been constantly dreaming of a girl. In the dream, she did some things that I find incomprehensible. Master, do you think this dream is a sign?" Minji replied, "Your Highness, all the myriad causes in the world are part of a cycle of cause and effect. The cause and calamity of a past life become the fruit of this life. The reason dreams can be signs is because, in the unseen, fate is already set." When Ning Huaiming heard Minji's words, "The cause and calamity of a past life become the fruit of this life," his heart suddenly clenched. He stared at Minji without blinking. "Fate is already set? Does that mean my future will be just like in a dream? I will personally hand a knife to a woman and even let her kill me?" Ning Huaiming withdrew his gaze and bowed. "Many thanks for the master's guidance. Unfortunately, I don't believe in fate." The moment he turned, his face held a ruthlessness that didn't match his tender features. He gripped the dagger hanging at his waist. "What fate? It's just the cowardly words of those who sit and wait for death. This time, I will be the one holding the knife. I finally have a chance to start over. Anyone who stands in my way must die." He recalled everything that happened in the dream. In the dream, he had grown into an adult. Could that woman be the grown-up version of a baby? He remembered that when the woman in the dream berated him, she said he had destroyed her home. This means the woman is from Southern Yu, and she's related to the Southern Yu royal family. According to his memories from his past life, Southern Yu and Northern Yin are currently in peace talks over border issues. Perhaps he could use the peace talks to take a trip to Southern Yu. A month passed in a flash. After Lu Rian finished her postpartum confinement, the prince's mansion held a full moon banquet for Zhu Yuji. The scene could only be described as magnificent. "Congratulations, Your Highness, Wang Fei. The fifth young miss is already 1 month old so quickly. Look at these eyes and this nose. She looks exactly like the Wang Fei." Zhu Yuji, nestled in Lu Rian's arms, was not in high spirits. She just found the polite chatter in her ears annoying, and it seemed like she had forgotten something important, but she just couldn't remember what. Suddenly, a loud announcement came. "Her Majesty the Empress has arrived." Everyone immediately knelt. With the Empress's presence at the full moon banquet, the atmosphere became even more lively. The Empress, Lu Ruqiang, came before Lu Ruyan and said with a smile, "You may all rise. Today is my niece's full moon celebration. Everyone, there's no need to be overly formal. Xiao Wu, that is, Zhu Yuji, was struck by her beauty the moment she looked up. In the next second, her lost memories returned. Her heart sank. Empress Lu Ruqiang, my dear aunt. I knew I forgot something. It turns out I forgot about my own aunt's life or death matter. Oh my God, my Annie's going to die soon. At the full moon banquet, Zhu Yuji saw the Empress, her aunt, and only then did she remember the important matter she had forgotten. Empress Lu Ruqiang is the vicious white moonlight in the first book of a tragic romance trilogy. The Lu family is a major IP factory specializing in producing vicious female side characters. Not only is she the male lead's childhood white moonlight, but she's also the squad leader for forced abortions in the imperial palace. To solidify the crown prince's position, she fed infertility soup to no small number of palace concubines. And the despicable male lead of the first book, Shun Hung, falls in love with the female lead who serves as Lu Ruqiang's substitute. After Shun Hung becomes emperor, he suspects Lu Ruqiang of secretly harming his beloved. In the end, this vicious white moonlight Annie dies amidst the male lead Shun Heng's chasing wife to the crematorium arc. Zhu Yuji reviewed the plot and looked at the gentle Annie before her. She complained silently. How could such a beautiful auntie be vicious? The author must have gotten it wrong. Lu Ruqiang was amused by Zhu Yuji's ever-changing expressions. She reached out and poked her cheek dotingly. Look at her, with a little red mole between her brows. She really looks like an acolyte from beside a bodhisattva. Zhu Yuji also liked her fragrant and beautiful Annie. She held onto her hand and acted cute, snuggling against it. With this contact, her inner voice leaked out directly. Hello, my nation-toppling, fish-sinking, swan-falling, extraordinary Annie. The smile on Lu Ruqiang's face instantly froze. What's going on? Did I just hear Xiao Wu speak? That shouldn't be possible. How can a 1-month-old baby talk? However, in the next moment, a warm, soft voice sounded in her mind again. My beautiful Annie is actually going to die soon. That dead scumbag Shin Hung, is his brain fried? It was clearly him who insisted on finding Yin Yu to be my Annie's substitute. Now that Yin Yu, this substitute, is about to die, he's fallen in love with her. Fine, love her if you want. You two can play your chasing wife to the crematorium game. You do the chasing, but my Annie is the one in the crematorium. A psycho that even a gold mine couldn't dig up, and I had to run into one. This is truly something that can be tolerated by some, but not by me. I won't allow my wonderful Annie to be ruined by you people. The furious Zhu Yuji had no idea what a huge shock her inner voice had given Lu Ruqiang, who stood frozen in place as if struck by lightning. Xiao Wu said, Shun Hung wants to kill me. But if Xiao Wu is just talking nonsense, how would she know about Yin Yu? The Yin Yu that Xiao Wu mentioned seems to be that noble lady living in the remote palace. It's that woman who looks very much like me. Shin Hung once said that he only found Yin Yu to alleviate his longing for me, and that he had no feelings for her. The thought that her husband, who had supported her for so many years, wanted to kill her, finally made Lu Ruqiang's eyes redden. Although she was sad, she felt more resentment towards the man who shared her bed. Back then, for the sake of his position, she had sacrificed so much. But during the time she was sacrificing for him, he had an affair with another woman, and now he wants to kill her for that woman. When Lu Rian saw that Lu Ruqiang's expression was off, a guess formed in her mind. My sister probably also heard our daughter's inner voice. She immediately reached out and nudged her. Sister, what's wrong with you? Lu Ruqiang came back to her senses and forced a smile. It's nothing. We sisters haven't seen each other in a long time. I'd like to have a good long talk with you tonight. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan immediately agreed. Younger sister will be delighted. Lu Ruqiang turned and instructed her personal maid, Hongzhu, you, take my token back to the palace and ask for a favor from His Majesty. Just say that I wish to stay overnight at the Namping Prince's mansion tonight. At this moment, Lu Ruqiang, just like Lu Rian before her, had given up on true love and was ready to deal with the scumbag. It was time to remind the emperor of the vows he once made. It doesn't matter if a man has a wandering heart. Just pluck one out and it'll be fine. Zhu Yuji's surprise was very obvious. What's going on? To make sure she could stay tonight, I had my throat all ready to go. Why aren't you leaving me any room to perform it all? Meanwhile, after a month-long journey, the Northern Een envoy finally arrived at the capital city of Southern Yu. Just as they were about to enter the city, they stopped outside the city walls. After the convoy stopped, someone came to Ning Huaiming's carriage. Your Highness, we are almost at the capital. Why don't we rest outside the city for today? Ning Huaiming's attendant lifted the carriage curtain and looked at the sky. Let's go. Instead of hurrying into the city, you're making His Highness stop and rest outside the city. What is the meaning of this? The envoy ignored the attendant and said to Ning Huaiming, Your Highness, this is something you don't understand. In peace talks between two nations, if we rush into the city, it will make Southern you mistakenly think that our Northern Yin is afraid of them. If Southern you is sincere about the peace talks, they will naturally send someone to lead us into the city. Ning Huaiming pretended not to see the envoy's disdain for him and said cautiously, Oh, so that's how it is. It was this prince who was not thoughtful enough. Then let's follow your arrangements and rest at the inn outside the city. After he finished speaking, the attendant lowered the carriage curtain. The timid look on Ning Huaiming's face was gone. To keep me from entering the city, they really went to great lengths. It's impressive they could endure for a month and wait until we reached the capital to make their move. The attendant frowned. Your Highness, your eye color, how? Ning Huaiming cut him off. It's nothing. It's always good to be low-key. By the way, how are the things I asked you to prepare? The attendant replied respectfully, Rest assured, Your Highness. They have long been prepared. Ning Huaiming nodded upon hearing this. That's good. Tonight is destined to be a sleepless night. Then he closed his eyes to rest, waiting for people to come to their deaths. With the Empress's presence, the flattery at Zhu Yuji's full moon banquet had already praised the 1-month-old Zhu Yuji to the level of a goddess from the 9th heaven, descending to the mortal world. When the banquet was halfway through, a weeping woman burst in. She begged Her Majesty the Empress to seek justice for her. The lively atmosphere suddenly paused, filled with gazes of gossip and schadenfreude. The Empress looked and saw that the person below was none other than the new top scholar's sister. She frowned and asked what happened. The top scholar's sister hung her head, stammering and finding it hard to speak. Zhu Yuji suddenly remembered her full moon banquet and her third brother's downfall. Lu Rian heard her daughter's inner voice and also grew tense. The unknowing Zhu Yuji quickly recalled the plot. Because her third brother became the Shitsi early on, he was taken by their scumbag father to be taught. As a result, the scumbag father deliberately raised him to be useless. The grown-up third brother indulged in eating, drinking, womanizing, and gambling. But because of the scumbag father's cover-up, their mother never found out. And the reason the third brother became like this all started on the day of the full moon banquet. On this day, the third brother behaved frivolously and offended the new top scholar's sister. As a result, the mother and the Empress aunt thought the young lady was making false accusations. Not only was she not given justice, but she was also reprimanded in front of everyone. Unable to bear the humiliation, the young lady went home that night and committed suicide. From then on, the new top scholar held a grudge against the Zhu family. In the end, he framed the third brother for sleeping with the emperor's concubine, and the emperor had his hands and feet cut off. Lu Rian gasped after hearing this. This son of hers, as the Shitsi, should have been highly regarded. But now, because of her negligence, he had been deliberately raised to be useless. She was so angry she could beat her chest and stomp her feet. Her blackening value shot up. The scholar's sister's suppressed sobs brought her back to her senses. This subject, although I have been wrong, that I really don't know how to begin. Thinking of her son's fate, Lu Rian knew that she absolutely could not offend this young lady tonight. She immediately ordered the maid beside her to fetch the third son. Then she walked down and personally helped the scholar's sister up. I understand the young lady's grievance. Would you be willing to accompany Her Majesty the Empress and me to the adjacent hall for a private talk? The scholar's sister heard this and nodded cautiously. In the adjacent side hall, the third son ran over excitedly. Mother consort, you called for me. Before he could even get close, Lu Ruyan splashed a face full of tea on him, which sobered him up by more than half. At such a young age, you're already uneducated and dissolute in your behavior. Look at the fine mess you've made. Only then did Zhu Zijian see the girl behind his mother. He was unconcerned and even felt wronged. Mother consort, I just pulled on her clothes a little. Is it that serious? Seeing this, Zhu Yuji was indignant in her heart. Of course it's serious. Mother, quickly seize him and hang him up for a beating. If you don't beat him now, you'll only be able to stomp on his grave later. Seeing that her son was still unrepentant, Lu Rian had a maid kick the back of his knees, forcing him to kneel before the scholar's sister. Then she turned to the scholar's sister. I apologize. It was my failure to discipline him that caused you this grievance. Today, however you wish to punish him, is all up to you. The scholar's sister never expected the Wang Fei to apologize to her and was very flattered. Zhu Zijian roared unwillingly. Mother consort, how can you do this to me? I am a Shitsi of the mansion. The empress suddenly spoke up. Is that so? Then, I wonder if I, the empress, have the authority to discipline you? Men, the Shitsi shows no respect for his elders. Drag him out and give him 20 heavy strokes with the plank. Zhu Yuji shouted in her heart. Good beating. If he's not beaten now, he'll cause trouble sooner or later. Empress Annie and Mother are truly amazing. The scholar's sister saw that Zhu Zijian was really being held down by the guards for a beating, and that both the Empress and the Wang Fei were on her side. The anger in her heart dissipated. Lu Ruyan then said, Tomorrow, I will bring this wicked son to your door to apologize. What do you think of this arrangement? The scholar's sister bowed deeply. I never expected Her Majesty the Empress and the Wang Fei to be so reasonable and to uphold justice for this subject. As for the Shitsi's mistake, this subject will not pursue it further. This subject takes her leave. The matter with the scholar's family was over, but the matter with her third son was not. Lu Ruyan was determined to reform him. A maid took Zhu Yuji back to rest. Zhu Yuji struggled, not wanting to go. She still wanted to stay and watch the drama. But alas, no one was willing to let her stay. As soon as Zhu Yuji was far away, Lu Ruyan put on the authority of the head of the household and ordered men, investigate everyone around the Shitsi. Anyone found to have enticed the Shitsi into a life of pleasure, once confirmed, will be beaten to death. Lu Ruyan learned from her daughter's inner voice that her son was being deliberately corrupted. She began a major cleanup of the people around her son and had the head maid take Zhu Yuji back to rest. As they passed through the garden, Zhu Yuji looked at the bright, round moon and sighed. In the blink of an eye, it's been a while since I transmigrated into this novel. I wonder if I can ever go back. Although I finally get to be a child with a mother, it's hard not to miss the cell phones and computers of the modern era. If only I hadn't curiously clicked on this novel, just because I shared the same name as the protagonist of the third book. If only I hadn't been a keyboard warrior and rated this book as crazy man, crazy woman. If only I hadn't been told by a reader, if you can do better, you do it. Then I wouldn't have actually had to do it, becoming a helpless baby in this tragic novel. Amidst her long sighs, a person in black jumped out from behind rockery. With extreme speed, he gave the maid a karate chop, then swiftly caught the falling Zhu Yuji. Phew, that was close. I almost came all this way for nothing and dropped the hostage. Without a second word, he used his lightness skill and fled the scene. The second rank maid could only watch helplessly as the young master was snatched away. After coming to her senses, she shouted for help. Help! There's an assassin. Zhu Yuji calmly accepted the fact that she had been kidnapped, but tears still burst from her eyes. Goodbye, Mom. Tonight, I set sail. Goodbye to my dark history. Goodbye to this world full of psychos. I'm going to wander. At the same time, at the inn outside the city, a group of men in black silently crept into Ning Huaiming's room. They walked to the bedside with their swords and saw the bulging quilt on the bed. They stabbed down without hesitation, but the feel was wrong. When they pulled out their swords, a lot of goose feathers came out. Damn it, it's a trap. They threw back the quilt and saw that there were only 2 pillows underneath. The man in black roared in frustration. We've been tricked. That brat Ning Huaiming isn't in the room at all. He must have entered the city. Hurry and chase. If you see any child of a similar age, it's better to kill by mistake than to let him go. The man in black who had snatched Zhu Yuji originally wanted to take her out of the city. But to his surprise, the Zhu family had sealed the city gates so quickly and even mobilized the city patrol. It seems I can only hide for now and sneak out of the city tomorrow morning. As he hesitated, the city patrol quickly approached the dark alley where he was hiding. The man in black looked at the child in his arms and gritted his teeth, making a desperate decision. I can't move with a baby. I can only hide her first. After the patrol leaves, I'll come back and hide her somewhere else. Zhu Yuji struggled to pull at the man's hand, complaining frantically in her mind. Bro, if you're gonna kidnap me, just kidnap me. Can you not cover my face? I'm about to suffocate. Do you people here have some kind of face covering fetish? After making his decision, the man in black removed the hand covering Zhu Yuji's mouth, just as Zhu Yuji was about to instinctively cry out. But he quickly stuffed something in her mouth to prevent her from crying out and revealing their location. Zhu Yuji had just taken a breath when she was gagged again. She rolled her eyes in exasperation. The man in black didn't care about her discomfort. He placed her on the ground, grabbed an empty basket nearby, and covered Zhu Yuji with it. Then, the man in black quickly left the dark alley, thinking his plan was absolutely flawless. Little did he know that just as he left, that a child dressed as a beggar entered the alley behind him. This was none other than Ning Huaiming, disguised to escape his pursuers. It was truly a case of when it rains, it pours. Originally, Ning Huaiming's disguise had already fooled those assassins. But unexpectedly, he ran into a citywide lockdown, which disrupted his plans. And because he was unfamiliar with the city's layout, he could only hide in this deep alley for a while. He walked toward the baskets on the side. Just as he was about to lift one, he heard the basket in front of him speak. "Tui Tui, let me teach you a lesson today. It's called the devil is 1 foot tall, but the Tao is 10 feet higher. A tiny walnut can't shut my mouth." If it weren't for Ning Huaiming's memories from his past life and his calm demeanor, he would have almost screamed and exposed himself. But Zhu Yuji, inside the basket, was completely unaware of this. She tried hard to push off the basket covering her, but it was just a futile effort. Helplessly, she gave up. Damn these stupid little short arms. If I can't reveal my body, then I'll just have to scream my lungs out. He took a deep breath, wanting to cry out loudly to attract his own people. In the next second, the basket was unexpectedly lifted off him. A baby and a child stared at each other in silence. Ning Huaiming stared at Zhu Yuji, his mind full of questions. Why is there a baby under a basket? A baby this small can already talk? Zhu Yuji saw that it was a child, but she figured it was a rescue, right? Suddenly, the sound of messy footsteps came from around the corner. Ning Huaiming's heart tightened. The assassins must be chasing him again. He no longer had time to study the baby in front of him. He immediately picked up Zhu Yuji and put the basket back down over them. Zhu Yuji was dumbfounded. What the heck? So you're not here to save me. You're here to steal my spot. The footsteps gradually stopped in front of the basket where the two were hiding. Ning Huaiming also grew nervous, afraid that the baby in his arms would suddenly make a sound and expose him. He reached out and covered Zhu Yuji's mouth. Then Zhu Yuji heard someone whispering, "Big brother, you seem a bit presumptuous. It's one thing if you don't save me, but what's the deal with crouching in here? And even covering my mouth? So annoying. Why is it always covering my mouth?" In the darkness, Ning Huaiming's body stiffened. "I've clearly covered this child's mouth. How could she still speak? Besides, a child this age can't even talk yet." A moment later, he was certain this was the baby's inner voice. But how could he hear her inner voice? In the current situation, he had no time to dwell on it, because the people chasing him outside were talking. "Big brother, I saw him run this way with my own eyes. How do we lose him? Useless. Can't even handle a child. Go keep searching. If he really escapes, the trouble will be endless." Hearing the footsteps of the people outside leaving, Ning Huaiming waited a while, then lifted the cage cover, put down Zhu Yuji, and looked left and right. Zhu Yuji was afraid this person would just leave her behind and go. She quickly grabbed the corner of Ning Huaiming's clothes, putting on a cute, smiling face. In her heart, she screamed, "Seeing as we've squatted in the same cage, why don't you save me? I was kidnapped. If you take me home, you'll be my biological brother from the same parents." Hearing this, Ning Huaiming's expression became inscrutable. He thought about the child who had formed some kind of connection with him. The child's inner voice. And her attire, just like in his dream, bespoke wealth and nobility. Is it really just a coincidence? He turned and squatted down, seemingly muttering to himself. But in reality, he was cunningly probing Zhu Yuji's inner thoughts. "Looks like we're in the same boat, both abandoned by our families. But you're too small. What if I can't raise you?" Zhu Yuji, unaware she had been exposed, was moved to tears. "I have a luminous pearl bigger than my fist. If I grit my teeth, it's not impossible." Hearing this, Ning Huaiming felt even more strongly that she was like the child from his dream, who seemed to adore luminous pearls. Could the one he was looking for be this child, right in front of him? Could it really be such a coincidence? And what's with this special ability to hear another's inner voice? Perhaps I can use this inner voice to find the answers that have long perplexed me. He had a harmless smile on his face, but his voice grew deeper. "I don't know where your home is. How about I just leave you at the entrance of the government office?" When Zhu Yuji heard this, her tears were instantly held back. Her shattered heart was instantly mended. She wanted to kowtow to the kind young man before her. "You truly are a soft-hearted god. Thank you. My living boat is Sattva." Just as Ning Huaiming bent down and picked her up, that the arrogant voice of the man in black came from behind. "Good kid. I knew we didn't look in the wrong place. You really are here." The two of them looked over in unison. Zhu Yuji clung tightly to Ning Huaiming, her mind racing. They even know to come back. Their normal IQ is a little scary. Ning Huaiming, evading his pursuers, had run into the kidnapped Zhu Yuji. He discovered he could hear this baby's inner voice, and that this baby also matched the child from his many dreams. The main purpose of his trip was to find the child from his dreams. He intended to keep the child by his side, to judge her through her inner voice. Just as he was about to leave with the child in his arms, the pursuing men in black found them. This fight was inevitable. He looked at Zhu Yuji and whispered, "Can you hold your breath? If you can understand me, nod your head. If you can't, that you'll just have to pass out in a bit." Zhu Yuji, completely unguarded, nodded subconsciously, totally forgetting that a normal child at this age cannot understand human speech. She was still responding frantically in her mind. Yes, yes, yes. It's just holding my breath, right? I'm the best at playing dead. I've dodged everything by playing dead from the very beginning. My record is verifiable. Ning Huaiming bounced Zhu Yuji in his hands and smiled. So you really can understand. When I count to 3, hold your breath. Only then did Zhu Yuji realize. She quickly covered her mouth. Oh no, I've been exposed. How could you trick me like that? Ning Huaiming was now certain. This child was extraordinary. He tossed her up into the air. Then he shouted 3. With his other hand, he threw several smoke bombs from his robes. White smoke instantly filled the entire alley. Using the cover of the smoke, he caught Zhu Yuji and slipped smoothly out of the encirclement. Before passing out, Zhu Yuji cursed Ning Huaiming in her heart. Heartbreak, true heartbreak, is never loud and boisterous. I've never in my life seen someone so unconventional. Ning Huaiming's smoke bombs not only bought him time to escape, but also attracted the patrolling soldiers. This was how he finally shook off the men in black. He found a safe hiding place. After an unknown amount of time, Zhu Yuji slowly woke up. Wow, so cold. Did I have a nightmare about this baby being kidnapped? She opened her eyes to see an empty, messy room. She was lying on the young man who had tricked her. So it wasn't a dream. But looking at this pursued little big brother, his eyes were tightly shut, his face was pale, and he looked lifeless. She let out a sharp scream in her mind. Little big brother is dead. She flailed her limbs, trying to get off the corpse. But she was only a month old, willing but weak. Frustrated, she burst into loud wails. Stirred by her movements, Ning Huaiming painfully and slowly woke up, forcing out a few words. Don't move. Zhu Yuji's movements paused. She looked back at him. So you're not dead, little big brother. Then why didn't you make a sound? You nearly scare me to death. Huh? Your shoulder is bleeding. What should I do? You can't die. While escaping, Ning Huaiming had been hit by a poison dart. The poison could numb a person's 5 senses and limbs. Fortunately, he had an antidote pill with him. He struggled to call out medicine. Medicine. Zhu Yuji didn't understand, but urgently replied, check it out. Ning Huaiming was instantly speechless. He felt his ability to speak fading away. In the current situation, he could only place all his hopes on this baby, Zhu Yuji. He sighed and slowly guided her, pointing to the medicine on his chest. Zhu Yuji slapped her forehead. You should have said so earlier. I thought you were being abstract with me. Then, her hand started fumbling inside Ning Huaiming's clothes, pulling out a small white porcelain bottle. Zhu Yuji held up the medicine and looked at Ning Huaiming. By now, Ning Huaiming couldn't speak at all. He couldn't even say how many pills he should take. He could only give a slight nod. Seeing this, Zhu Yuji pulled out the stopper and poured out all 5 pills from the bottle. Then she stuffed the entire handful of pills into Ning Huaiming's mouth. Ning Huaiming couldn't speak. He could only watch helplessly. It was the first time in 2 lifetimes that someone had stuffed medicine into his mouth, and it was fed to him along with her hand. Zhu Yuji expressed, my hands are small. I was afraid of dropping the medicine. Please understand. As long as you can live, I'd swallow a fist or even an arrow for you. Hearing this, Ning Huaiming wanted to cry, but had no tears. Just 1 pill is worth 1,000 gold. This isn't swallowing medicine, it's swallowing gold. Not long after taking the medicine, Ning Huaiming's poison was neutralized. He tidied himself up a bit, then held the extremely sleepy Zhu Yuji and fell asleep. Looking at Zhu Yuji, curled up in a ball on his chest, his dark eyes glinted dangerously. The constant stream of inner thoughts he heard when holding her seemed to not match up. This girl was quirky and strange. The woman in his dream who plunged a dagger into his chest had a face full of sorrow. Their personalities were worlds apart. How could they be the same person? His hand unconsciously rose and poked Zhu Yuji's plump cheeks. His first thought was, it feels quite soft. Zhu Yuji woke up and stared at him speechlessly. Why are you poking me? Even though Ning Huaiming was reborn, he was still just a young man, looking at the baby sleeping on his chest, about her chubby and adorable appearance. His hand unconsciously rose and poked Zhu Yuji's cheek. His first thought was, it feels quite warm. Zhu Yuji opened her eyes, looked up, and their eyes met. What are you doing to me? Under Zhu Yuji's shocked and condemning gaze, Ning Huaiming quickly withdrew his hand and averted his gaze. He thought to himself, so it wasn't a hallucination. Such a fantastical thing actually exists in this world. I can actually hear another person's inner voice by touching someone. This child is strange through and through. Logically, it's better to kill by mistake than to let one go. But this child had indirectly saved his life. His faint sense of compassion was stirred after all. Forget it. I'll just let her fend for herself here. That could be considered the extent of my benevolence. Thinking this, he slowly got up. Seeing this, Zhu Yuji was greatly shocked. Little big brother, you're all better? Then hurry up and take me with you. She even stretched out her hands for a hug. However, Ning Huaiming just left her where she was, stood up, and walked out. Her whole world fell apart. No, brother, big brother, adoptive father, you're just leaving? This makes me feel like I deserve to die for having met you. If you're not going to save me, can you at least consider setting me free? You could move me to the main street, find a conspicuous spot, and leave me there. That would work too. I'm not picky. Seeing that Ning Huaiming had already walked out the main door, Zhu Yuji's heart broke. She wailed loudly, hoping to attract someone's attention with a couple of cries. Then she saw Ning Huaiming turn back. He looked at her with a very complicated expression. What are you crying for? Zhu Yuji paused. Didn't you leave? Ning Huaiming chuckled, sighed, and was about to say something when a commotion was heard outside. A large group of soldiers swarmed in from behind. Without a word, Ning Huaiming picked up Zhu Yuji. The hand holding her instantly tightened. He thought these soldiers were here for him, and his eyes filled with vigilance. Zhu Yuji looked at the soldiers, then at Ning Huaiming, and had a sudden realization. She was moved to tears. Little big brother, I misunderstood you. So you want to get reinforcements? I really have no judgment. I just cursed your entire ancestry. She hugged him and rubbed against him intimately. Ning Huaiming fell silent. That wasn't what he was going to say. He thought, you might as well keep misunderstanding. Just as Zhu Yuji was fawning over him, he heard a familiar voice. Little sister. It really was her big brother. Zhu Jimal was the first to rush in. When Zhu Yuji saw her big brother, all her strength crumbled to pieces. Zhu Jimal moved to pick up Zhu Yuji, but Ning Huaiming took a step back. This evasive action made Zhu Jimal's expression darken. Who are you? Why is my little sister with you? Zhu Yuji, afraid of a misunderstanding between the two, quickly explained to Ning Huaiming, little big brother, that's really my big brother. Give me back to him. Don't you two have any misunderstandings? After hearing this, Ning Huaiming proactively handed the child over. I am Ning Qi, from a family that runs an escort agency. My apologies, someone tried to snatch the child earlier, so I thought you also had ill intentions. Zhu Jima heard his little sister's inner voice and narrowed his eyes. He felt a bit more admiration for Ning Huaiming. After all, for such a young man to be able to save little Five from vicious kidnappers, he must not be simple. Young Master Ning saved my little sister. Such a great kindness is hard to repay. However, young Master Ning, you run an escort agency business. Why have you fallen to such a state alone? Ning Huaiming didn't expect Zhu Jima to be so perceptive. He then pretended to be hesitant, as if it were difficult to speak. Back home, my stepmother wants to seize power, so I have no choice but to hide everywhere. Hearing this, Zhu Yuji pitied him. Poor little big brother. What is this? The ancient version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? When Lu Ruyan received the news and rushed over, she saw Zhu Yuji being held in Zhu Jima's arms. Without a word, she took the child from her eldest son's hands, crying a river of tears. Mother's little Five. Thank goodness you're all right. Who on earth took you? She completely failed to notice that ever since she appeared, Ning Huaiming's gaze had never left her. Lu Ruyan's face overlapped with the beautiful woman from his dream. Ning Huaiming's gaze then fell upon Zhu Yuji. So that dream was real. So it really is her. This child is the woman who kills me in the dream. The sword hanging in his heart finally fell. What he regretted was that, because of that ridiculous compassion, he had protected his own executioner. Back in her mother's arms, Zhu Yuji could no longer hold back her tears, pouring out her grievances in her heart. Mother, I've returned from my wandering. It's all thanks to little big brother this time. He's practically my life-saving brother. Listening to her daughter's tearful account, Lu Ruyan's mood gradually calmed. She looked at Ning Huaiming. It was this young master who saved my daughter, wasn't it? Great kindness needs no words. If you don't mind, young master, you can stay at our humble residence for a while. Because of Lu Ruyan's appearance, which overlapped with the image from his dream. But he was now certain the baby before him was the person who would kill him in the future. He was already regretting being moved by that ridiculous compassion. Now, he could just go with the flow. How could Zhu Yuji know that the little big brother was secretly regretting not having killed her earlier? Thinking he was overwhelmed by the sudden good fortune, she waved her big eyes and urged, "Don't hesitate. Hurry up and agree, little big brother." Ning Huaiming's gaze fell on Zhu Yuji, who was smiling at him. Then he smiled, nodded, and agreed. He then followed them back to the prince's mansion. Clenching his fists tightly, he silently vowed, this time, that I will not be soft-hearted again. Lu Ruyan brought Zhu Yuji back to the prince's mansion. And unexpectedly saw someone who had been gone for a long time, Zhu Qiaosheng. He had originally intended to gloss over his young daughter's kidnapping, but the rest of his words, when he saw Zhu Yuji in Lu Ruyan's arms. Zhu Qiaosheng quickly reacted and switched to doting father mode. I rushed back without stopping the moment I heard something happen to little Five. It's a good thing little Five is all right. Have those audacious kidnappers been caught? If they have, I will make them wish they were dead. Zhu Yuji, almost the instant Zhu Qiaosheng finished speaking, retorted in her heart, that old geezer is still pretending. Then, with teary eyes, she accused him to Lu Ruyan. Mother, the real culprit who kidnapped me is him. Based on my experience watching Conan, there's only one truth. He failed to replace me before, so he thought he'd try again. I just didn't expect to be back so quickly. It seems the old geezer hasn't received news from the kidnappers yet. Old geezer, you should be glad I can't talk. Otherwise, I'd definitely trick you into thinking the kidnappers were caught, making you lose sleep at night. Lu Ruyan had long since awakened from her love-struck days after hearing her daughter's inner voice for the first time, which confirmed her husband was keeping a mistress. All that remained was frantic revenge. She held Zhu Yuji, her face as gentle as ever. The kidnappers got away, but it seems they left behind some evidence before they fled. Before Lu Ruyan could finish, Zhu Qiaosheng hastily interrupted. What evidence? Zhu Yuji laughed inwardly. The old geezer is getting anxious. He's anxious. Ning Huaiming stood behind Lu Ruyan, seeing everyone's expressions clearly. He curled his lips with great interest. The Prince of Nanping seems very reluctant to have his daughter found, and the Princess of Nanping, despite clearly sensing this, still forces herself to play the part of a loving couple with him. A father with ulterior motives. A mother who is perceptive but holds her tongue. A brother with his own schemes. A daughter who seems not too bright but understands the ways of the world as if holding them in her palm. This Prince of Nanping's mansion is indeed more interesting than I imagined. He unconsciously revealed a cunning smile. Zhu Yuji keenly looked back at him. Little big brother, why did you suddenly smile so villainously? Hearing this, Ning Huaiming was startled, but quickly pretended that nothing was wrong. Their small interaction didn't attract the adult's attention. Lu Ruyan, after keeping Zhu Qiaosheng in suspense, finally smiled and replied, the evidence isn't important. Rather, husband, look, little Five is looking at you. It seems she missed you very much during the month you were away from home. Zhu Qiaosheng's mind was completely preoccupied with the evidence. My lady, how is that not important? Give the evidence to me, I must. Zhu Yuji also understood. Her mother was teasing her father, and she cooperated perfectly, interrupting Zhu Qiaosheng's questioning with fake crying. Lu Ruyan immediately started comforting the child. Husband, don't ask for now. You're scaring little Five. She successfully sidelined Zhu Qiaosheng. Seeing that he couldn't get a word in amidst the mother-daughter affection, Zhu Qiaosheng turned his attention to Ning Huaiming. My lady is right. I was being inconsiderate. And this is Lu Ruyan, who had been too busy comforting the child to pay attention to Zhu Qiaosheng, suddenly had time. He saved little Five. If it weren't for this young master, little Five wouldn't have returned so quickly. Ning Huaiming also obediently greeted Zhu Qiaosheng. Looking at Ning Huaiming's brilliant smile, Zhu Qiaosheng was furious. So it's this brat who ruined my plans. Yet he had to force a grateful smile. So it was all thanks to the young master. Since you are my daughter's savior, young master, please stay at the mansion. You can tell me if you have any requests." Ning Huaiming pretended not to see the gloom in the Prince of Nanping's eyes. His smile remained brilliant. "Thank you, Your Highness." After returning to his study, Zhu Qiaosheng angrily smashed an inkstone. Because the plan to swap the daughter failed, he had to find another way. For the past month, he had been plotting in secret. He had planned to have someone take Lil Five away. Then, while Lu Rian was grieving, he would bring back the child from his affair under the guise of adoption to console Lu Rian. He never expected such a perfect plan to be ruined by some random kid. Moreover, Lu Rian said the person who kidnapped Little Five left behind evidence. If it was traced back to him and he was held accountable by the Empress, it would be troublesome. Thinking this, Zhu Qiaosheng decided to be decisive. Rather than wait for doom, it was better to strike first. If the Princess of Nanping died of illness, then all his problems would be solved. In order to make way for his mistress, the Prince of Nanping planned to take the risk of killing his own princess consort, Lu Ruyan. Meanwhile, Ning Huaiming, as Zhu Yuji's savior, settled down in the prince's mansion. Just as he settled in, his men sent a message via carrier pigeon. The Northern Yin envoys, using Your Highness's disappearance as a pretext, are refusing to enter the capital. Southern Yu is searching for Your Highness with great fanfare. After seeing this message, Ning Huaiming showed an as expected expression. Northern Yin wants to use my death to launch an attack on Southern Yu. That's why after I came to Southern Yu with the Northern Yin envoys, those people made a move on me to prevent me from entering the Southern Yu capital. In my previous life, Northern Yin used the death of an envoy as a pretext to attack Southern Yu. In this life, it seems they think that compared to the death of an envoy, the death of a prince would more easily incite public anger and break the peace treaty. Now that I've infiltrated Southern Yu ahead of time and entered the capital, Northern Yin can only use my disappearance to delay entering the city. To clear its name, Southern Yu will of course search for me with great fanfare. They want the peace treaty to fall apart, but I won't let them have their way. Just then, a maidservant called to him from outside his room. "Young Master Ning, the princess consort requests your presence." Ning Huaiming walked out and followed the maidservant to Lu Ruyan's Yinyu pavilion. "Young Master Ning, please wait a moment. The princess consort will be out shortly." Ning Huaiming noted. "I wonder for what matter Her Highness the princess consort has summoned me." He inadvertently caught a glimpse of Zhu Yuji climbing, seemingly searching for something. Just as Zhu Yuji was about to slip and fall, Ning Huaiming's body reacted faster than his mind. He flashed over and caught her. Zhu Yuji looked up, saw Ning Huaiming, and grinned. "Little big brother, you're here. My mother is inside picking out clothes for you. Just wait a moment." Then, desperately suppressing her reluctance, she handed a large luminous pearl to Ning Huaiming with a pained expression. "Here, you take this. It's for you." As she pushed it over, she deliberately turned her face to the side, not letting Ning Huaiming see the heavy sorrow in her eyes. Ning Huaiming picked up the luminous pearl and asked for me. Zhu Yuji nodded solemnly. Ning Huaiming's eyes flickered. He remembered that in his dream, this child loved this luminous pearl very much, even hugging it to sleep. And now she's just giving it to me. Will she really kill me? Looking at the luminous pearl and the adorable baby before him, Ning Huaiming's heart softened a little. He had never seen what this child looked like grown up. How can I be sure that she will be the one to kill me when she grows up? Perhaps she and the woman who kills me are two different people. It's not impossible. As soon as this thought appeared, his heart skipped a beat. He shook his head, casting aside that trace of softness. I've only met her twice in total. Why do I soften every time? Could there really be some ridiculous fate between us? If I keep softening step by step, will I fall in love with Zhu Yuji? Thinking of that dream, Ning Huaiming was left with only one thought. Since it is a foregone conclusion that Zhu Yuji will kill me, then my killing Zhu Yuji would be acting in accordance with fate. Then, the hands holding Zhu Yuji loosened. Zhu Yuji slid down unexpectedly, letting out a startled cry. Fortunately, it wasn't too high, so she wasn't badly hurt. She didn't sense Ning Huaiming's killing intent, only thinking he was too weak to hold her tightly. Just as the big one and the little one were in silence, Zhu Qiaosheng walked in. Ning Huaiming properly created Zhu Qiaosheng. Although Zhu Qiaosheng tried his best to appear nonchalant, the blisters at the corner of his mouth revealed that he had been having a very stressful couple of days. He said blandly, "Young master, you are my daughter's great benefactor. There's no need to be so polite. After seeing that Lu Ruyin was not in the room, his eyes filled with joy. This is simply heaven's help. He walked straight to Zhu Yuji. Little five, did you miss Daddy? Look what Daddy brought for you. Then he took out a golden lock from his robes. He dangled it in front of Zhu Yuji. Does little five like it? Come, Daddy will put on for you. Zhu Yuji looked at the golden lock about to be placed on her and smiled eerily. She suddenly swung her fist and knocked the golden lock away. Then, with her small, toothless mouth, she bit her scumbag father's hand, cursing wildly in her heart. Old geezer. Don't think I don't know this golden lock is poisoned. You want to trigger my cold constitution. You want to use one golden lock to take both my mothers and my life, right? Naive scumbag. How dare you try to plot in front of me, who is a god's eye view? Although Zhu Qiaosheng didn't feel any pain, he still flung his arm away in disgust, not at all worried about his daughter getting hurt. At the critical moment, it was again Ning Huaiming who caught the falling Zhu Yuji, preventing her from getting injured. Zhu Qiaosheng retreated 2 steps in disgust. The way he looked at Zhu Yuji was as if he were looking at a monster. This child can avoid my schemes every single time. How uncanny. He suddenly remembered the fortune teller's words from before. The daughter the princess consort just gave birth to for you has an extraordinary background. You must be very careful. Comparing this with recent events, he increasingly felt that this daughter was born to oppose him. Thinking this, the killing intent in his eyes inadvertently leaked out, and he became even more desperate to kill this mother and daughter pair. Ning Huaiming, on the surface, pretended not to notice the undercurrents between the father and daughter. But inwardly, he was extremely shocked. How did Zhu Yuji know this golden lock was poisoned? What is a god's eye view? Could it be that she can predict the future? If so, she would also have foreseen my intention to kill her. Zhu Qiaosheng, this scumbag father, wanted to poison his daughter while Lu Ruyin was away, but failed once again. She was so small and couldn't speak, yet she could avoid the threat every time. It made him feel that something was uncannily wrong. Ning Huaiming witnessed the entire event and couldn't help but guess that Zhu Yuji might be able to predict the future. He concealed the urgency in his heart to deal with Zhu Yuji. Just as the father and daughter were in a silent standoff, Lu Ruyin walked out from the inner room. Zhu Qiaosheng immediately turned and left without a word. Seeing this, Lu Ruyin's gaze darkened. She roughly guessed that her husband had been trying to harm their daughter behind her back again. It seems I also need to speed up my actions. Then, she concealed all her emotions. She smiled and walked towards Ning Huaiming. Young Master Ning, I have already ordered people to rush the making of your new clothes. These few sets belong to my 4th son. Your build is similar to his, and he happens to be away from home, so I brought a few for you. Before the new clothes are sent over. Ning Huaiming coldly interrupted Lu Ruyin's show of goodwill towards him. That won't be necessary. Thank you, Princess Consort. He also returned the luminous pearl that Zhu Yuji had stuffed into his hands, making the excuse that it did not suit his status. He gave the Zhu Yuji in his arms to Lu Ruyin and took his leave. He felt that since his and Zhu Yuji's ending was bound to be bad, that then all this goodwill was just a burden to him. Lu Ruyin's face was full of confusion. The polite and reasonable child from a moment ago was now keeping everyone at arm's length. She looked at Zhu Yuji. What happened? Zhu Yuji also looked bewildered. I don't know. Could it be that he thought the pearl wasn't big enough? Ning Huaiming left Yinyu Pavilion. On his way back, he was stopped by Zhu Yuji's older brother, Zhu Jima. Your Highness, the 7th Prince. Right now, Southern Yu is searching everywhere for the 7th Prince of Northern Yin. Are you sure you want to hide in the Prince of Nanping's mansion and not show your face? They're going crazy looking for you outside. Seeing this, Ning Huaiming showed no panic at his identity being exposed. Instead, he retorted with undiminished presence. You recognized me long ago? Why didn't you expose me? Zhu Jima smiled faintly. Your Highness, save my sister. It is only right and proper that the Prince of Nanping's mansion repays this kindness. Ning Huaiming responded expressionlessly, Young Master Zhu, you are too kind. Rest assured, when the time is right, I will leave on my own. Zhu Jima gave Ning Huaiming a bow. Both were intelligent people and knew very well what was best for the other. Back in his own room, Ning Huaiming thought about the scene with him and Zhu Yuji, his eyes filled with undisguised killing intent. Early the next morning, he took out his hidden poison, planning to use it to test if Zhu Yuji truly possessed the ability to predict the future. This medicine was nominally a tonic. Even if crushed and examined, no poison could be detected. However, all the medicinal ingredients were mutually reinforcing and counteracting. A tonic could also kill without a trace. If Zhu Yuji can really predict the future, then she will be able to sense it, and I won't be able to deal with her with such ordinary means. If she can't, that would be the best result. After preparing, he asked the serving maid, "Is the princess consort in Yinyu Pavilion?" He learned that the princess consort had entered the palace today. Heaven sent opportunity. He was delighted. He pretended not to know and went to Yinyu Pavilion. The maidservant attending to Zhu Yuji saw him and hurried to greet him. "Young Master Ning, are you looking for the princess consort?" "The princess consort has gone out." Ning Huaiming played dumb and smiled. "Apologies, I forgot. Then I'll come back when the princess consort returns. Goodbye." Zhu Yuji, who was playing on the bed, saw Ning Huaiming and her face lit up with joy. She quickly babbled and called out to him, "Little big brother." Seeing Zhu Yuji so happy, the maid invited Ning Huaiming to join them. Ning Huaiming smiled. It would be rude to refuse. After sitting down next to Zhu Yuji, his gaze fell on the milk pot on the table. Taking advantage of the moment, Zhu Yuji asked him to open the box in front of them. His hand passed over the milk pot, and he added a poison known as a tonic. The substance was colorless and odorless. After drinking it, one wouldn't die immediately. At first, the person would seem perfectly normal, full of energy. But one day, several months later, they would simply not wake up. After doing this, he picked up the box. "What? Are you giving me something again?" This time, Zhu Yuji went all out. With tears welling up from the pain of giving things away, she thought, "I've thought about it. Maybe you disliked it last time because the table wasn't big enough. This time, I brought out all my worldly possessions. Please accept them. From now on, we'll be sworn siblings from the same parents. Don't mind me being so good to you." "Oh, right. Give me the milk pot." Ning Huaiming agreed. He considered this the kindest poison, one that caused no pain but still achieved his desired effect. He picked it up and handed it to Zhu Yuji, but she didn't take it. Her eyes were shining as she looked at him. Just as he was feeling strange and uneasy, he watched as Zhu Yuji grabbed his hand and pushed the milk pot to his lips. "Little big brother, you've accepted my things. From now on, we're sworn siblings. We can't skip the recognition ceremony. Today, we'll swear an oath over milk. If we're brothers, then drink this pot of milk." Ning Huaiming's face was indescribably grim. One second, he had just administered the poison, and the next, the person who was supposed to drink it had become himself. So, was Zhu Yuji just lucky, or did she have foresight? Ning Huaiming, in order to test if Zhu Yuji could truly sense threats, had put his long-treasured poison into Zhu Yuji's milk pot. But he never expected Zhu Yuji would want to become sworn brothers with him and push the poison milk pot back at him. Ning Huaiming suppressed his panic and said with a smile, "Fifth young miss, don't joke. This is your ration. It's not appropriate for you to push it away." The maid waiting nearby thought Ning Huaiming was just being shy. She was happy to foster a friendly atmosphere between the two children and said with a smile, "Young Master Ning, this is goat's milk. You can drink it without worry." Seeing Ning Huaiming holding it but not moving, Zhu Yuji reached out and pushed it again. "Are you looking down on me? If you don't drink, you're not giving me face." Ning Huaiming hadn't expected his plan to backfire so spectacularly. Seeing Zhu Yuji was a little unhappy. It seemed it would be truly unreasonable if he didn't drink. After a long mental struggle, he finally picked up the milk pot with trembling hands and drank it all in one go. His look of grim determination didn't attract Zhu Yuji's attention. Instead, it was the empty milk pot that made Zhu Yuji's expression change. "Hey, big brother, I didn't tell you to drink it all. That's my ration for the whole day. I just wanted you to take a sip. A sip. You didn't leave a single drop for me. Do you know what a huge shock it is for a self-aware baby like me to drink breast milk?" Zhu Yuji's heartbroken cries received no response from Ning Huaiming. At this moment, Ning Huaiming had no time to deal with the child. He had only one thought: get back to his room and take the antidote. Without another word, he ran off. Still acting, the heartbroken Zhu Yuji was completely bewildered. What's going on? Did little big brother get angry? But I was just complaining casually. I didn't think little big brother was even more of a snowflake than me. Meanwhile, Ning Huaiming ran back to his room at the fastest speed of his life, found the antidote pill, and swallowed it. Completely drained, he lay on the bed, but he couldn't relax. The antidote wouldn't take effect that quickly. He gritted his teeth as he felt the effects of the poison. This Zhu Yuji is truly my nemesis. Luckily, that person gave me an antidote pill, but it wasn't a complete loss. At least, judging from Zhu Yuji's thoughts, she didn't guess that I wanted to harm her. I've just lost this opportunity to strike again. Maybe it's time to leave. As his thoughts reached this point, he could no longer resist the effects of the drug and fell into a deep sleep. He slept from morning until night. Vaguely, he felt someone enter his room. An unignorable gaze startled him awake. He opened his eyes to a large face right in front of him and screamed instinctively, "Little big brother, are you okay?" Ning Huaiming saw it was Zhu Yuji and calmed down. "Fifth young miss, why are you here?" To this little big brother, the only one she could communicate with freely, Zhu Yuji held nothing back. "I heard you didn't eat dinner, so my big brother brought me to see you. You were sleeping, so my big brother went back first." After speaking, her eyes noticed that little big brother's neck was covered in red spots. Surprised, she pushed him down and pulled at his clothes to get a closer look. "Little big brother, you're sick." Ning Huaiming was already weak from the drug's effects. Being pulled by Zhu Yuji like that, he nearly suffocated. "I'm just allergic to goat's milk. Let go of me, I can't breathe." Hearing this, Zhu Yuji knew it was nothing serious and giggled sheepishly. "Sorry, my newly installed limbs aren't fully tamed yet. Blame the goat's milk. It made you have an allergic reaction? That's outrageous." Ning Huaiming felt more and more that Zhu Yuji was his nemesis. He had no energy to deal with her right now, so he pretended to be asleep. Seeing this, the chattering Zhu Yuji did indeed quiet down. It's great to be young. You can fall asleep in an instant. With no one to talk to, she casually lay down next to Ning Huaiming. "Little big brother, given our relationship, if you can't bring yourself to forgive me, then just force yourself to forgive me." After saying this, she really fell asleep. Ning Huaiming, who was pretending to be asleep, sensed that the person beside him had fallen asleep. He slowly opened his eyes and looked helplessly at the sleeping Zhu Yuji. Who's the one who can fall asleep in an instant? She's small but surprisingly strong. For a moment there, I thought I saw my great-grandmother. This kid is really one of a kind. Before he could think further, his cheek was hit by an unconscious punch from the sleeping Zhu Yuji. The small fist actually left a red mark on his face. After the pain subsided, he quickly got out of bed. Looking at the sleeping Zhu Yuji, his eyes flickered. There were only the two of them here. If he just smothered her with a quilt, wouldn't this nemesis, this variable, be eliminated? The two little figures in his mind were constantly fighting. Just as he reached for the bedsheet, Zhu Zhima appeared silently behind him. In the middle of the night, does the seventh prince want to admire the courtyard with me? To ensure no accidents and to cut off that dream premonition, Ning Huaiming looked at the sleeping Zhu Yuji. He really wanted to take advantage of the fact that no one was around to smother her with the quilt. Facing such a small baby, he hesitated for a moment. Just as he was about to act, Zhu Zhima appeared silently behind him. In the middle of the night, does the seventh prince want to admire the moon with me? His plan interrupted. Ning Huaiming had to give up this perfect opportunity. It was also no longer suitable for him to stay in the prince's mansion. And because he had the soul of an adult, he responded without missing a beat. "Young Master Zhu, what a fine mood you're in. Unfortunately, my men have been waiting outside the mansion for 2 days. Let's save it for another time. Farewell." After seeing him off, Zhu Zhima looked at his soundly sleeping little sister, feeling quite helpless. From his angle, he had only thought Ning Huaiming wanted to cover his sister with a quilt. But with their respective identities, such a relationship, he didn't know if it was a good thing. He gently tapped her nose. "Little sister, you've attracted big trouble." The next day, when Lu Rian learned that Ning Huaiming had left overnight, she couldn't help but worry. Why did he leave in such a hurry? Zhu Zhima sighed. I suppose he had urgent family matters and couldn't wait. I don't know how to tell little five. The two walked into the room and saw Zhu Yuji enthusiastically greeting them. Lu Rian was instantly healed by the sight. After cuddling and acting cute with her daughter, Zhu Yuji asked her question. "Wait, mother, didn't I go to keep little big brother company last night? How did I get back? Where's my little big brother?" Zhu Zhima and the others could now hear Zhu Yuji's thoughts without touching her. Hearing her question, he answered cautiously, "Little five, I have some bad news for you. Ning Qi has departed." Hearing this, Zhu Yuji froze for a moment, then reacted. What? She wailed in her mind. Little big brother is dead? He was fine last night. Why'd he die so suddenly? Oh, little big brother, I'm so sorry. You died so tragically. Zhu Jima's ears were nearly deafened. He quickly interrupted to explain, Little Five, don't cry, don't cry. I said he departed, as in he left, not died. The one who's about to die is his father. The seventh prince went back to fight for his inheritance, to prevent it from falling into the hands of his wicked stepmother. Zhu Yuji thought, then why couldn't you have said it all at once? Can you just throw around a word like departed? Does that mean I'll never see little big brother again? My heart is breaking all over again. She snuggled sorrowfully back into her mother's arms. Before she could get her fill of comfort, she suddenly sensed a murderous aura outside the door. Her eyes snapped open, her expression turning serious. Lu Ruyin and Zhu Jima also looked over vigilantly. Outside the door, they saw Zhu Qiaosheng, whom they hadn't seen for days, walking in with a group of people. What kind of trouble is he trying to stir up now? Zhu Yuji saw it was her scumbag father. She was vigilant and disgusted. This old dog is sneaking around. He's definitely up to no good. A glint flashed in Lu Ruyin's eyes. She smiled brightly as usual and went to greet him. Husband, what brings you to see Little Five? Zhu Qiaosheng feigned gentleness. A few Taoist priests from Qingyun Temple have come to the mansion. They say they have important matters to discuss. As you should know, Qingyun Temple was granted its title by the emperor after the Empress Dowager gave birth to him. We mustn't neglect them. Before Lu Ruyin could speak, he directly invited the priests in. Lu Ruyin had a bad feeling. Suppressing her complex thoughts, she looked at the priests. May I ask what brings you esteemed masters here? Zhu Yuji, on the other hand, began to analyze the situation based on her years of experience watching dramas and reading novels. This kind of situation, where some random priests or monks suddenly show up, is usually a setup by a villain to frame the protagonist. But this setup doesn't look like Mother brought them here to frame Scumbag Dad. One of the priests cupped his hands. Your Highness, the princess consort. A month ago, my master discovered a star of calamity. We have been tracking its descent and have traced it here. Hearing this, Lu Ruyin understood their scheme. How vicious. For a month ago? Wouldn't that be Little Five, who just had her 1-month celebration? Everyone looked at Zhu Yuji. Zhu Yuji blinked and also reacted. Are they talking about me? Lu Ruyin was amused by her daughter's cute expression. She responded silently, Yes, my silly girl, they're here for you. Zhu Qiaosheng pretended to scold them, but was actually guiding the priest to confirm his claims. How could my daughter be a star of calamity? Master, you must have made a mistake. The priest went along with it. Your Highness, the star of calamity is good at hiding. I was unable to divine its specific identity. However, I observed the celestial phenomena last night, and calculated that the star of calamity will reveal itself and cause trouble at the Z hour tonight. Tonight, I will set up a formation and perform a ritual. By then, the identity of the star of calamity will be known. Lu Ruyin immediately interrupted. This is improper. Your Highness, how can you be sure what they're saying is true? Zhu Qiaosheng placated her with a hypocritical expression. My lady, don't panic. It is precisely for this reason that we must confirm the identity of the star of calamity. I am doing this for Little Five's own good. Zhu Yuji suddenly remembered some plot points and started wailing in her mind. Mother, your precious daughter is about to die again. I just remembered this old dog commits treason later on. He becomes a Northern Yin spy in Southern Yu. To hasten the decline of Southern Yu, he found some priests to spread rumors that the Southern Yu imperial family's mandate has ended. The evidence proves he fabricated the rumors, which is a capital offense. After hearing her daughter's thoughts, Lu Ruyin was shaken. She originally thought he was just keeping a mistress, treating her like a fool, and leeching off her to strengthen himself. I never thought he would also commit treason. The matter instantly escalated from a family affair to a national one. Her previous plans for revenge and counterattacks, that would have to be changed. Her expression shifted as she collected her thoughts. If your Highness insists, then I have no choice but to agree. I will go and rest first. Your Highness, please make yourself at home. She then carried Zhu Yuji back to her room to prepare. Meanwhile, the news that Zhu Qiaosheng had found some priests to come to the mansion also reached Ning Huaiming, who had resumed his identity. Even a vicious tiger doesn't eat its cubs. He's treating Zhu Yuji as a disposable pawn. The secret guard assigned by Ning Huaiming to secretly observe Zhu Yuji asked, Your Highness, should we send someone to intervene? Ning Huaiming snorted coldly. Why intervene? I wish someone would get rid of this major threat for me. Go do something for me. I'm going to add some fuel to this fire." Her father, in order to get rid of his own daughter, insisted on finding priests to frame her with the title of Star of Calamity, so he could have a legitimate reason to eliminate her. Lu Ruiyan and Zhu Jimao returned to their room with Zhu Yuji, pondering how to get through the crisis at the Z hour tonight. Zhu Jimao had checked the city entry records. The priests in the mansion had indeed entered the city with identity documents from Qingyun Temple. Qingyun Temple was too far from the capital. It was too late for them to find someone to verify the priests' identities now. Hearing this, Lu Ruiyan's already cold heart frosted over again. Zhu Qiaoxing's move was truly vicious. If Little Five was confirmed as the Star of Calamity, even if she wasn't killed, she would be sent away. The mother and son were very worried. Zhu Jimao suddenly thought of his little sister's special ability. "Mother, why haven't we heard anything from Little Five?" The two turned their heads to the bed at the same time. They saw Zhu Yuji frowning, looking deep in thought. No wonder she was so quiet. She was also thinking of countermeasure. Both were very curious about Little Five's thoughts. With great rapport, they reached out and touched Zhu Yuji's head to listen to her thoughts without obstruction. "Damn old dog. He's determined not to let me go. Main quest tonight, survive past the Z hour. Side quest, face slap the enemy. No system and no cheats. Looks like I can only rely on my character and my intelligence. Let's see, how do they create these rumors? I think they use a special potion to write words on the ground in advance. After the potion dries, they chant and dance around, then burn a paper talisman. When the burning talisman touches the potion, the fire will follow the path of the potion, and the pre-written words will appear. In that case, don't blame me. I'll give you a big surprise first, Chun Sheng and Wu Guang style. I'll show you what a master of public opinion is." Lu Ruiyan and Zhu Jimao heard her angry inner voice and thought, wow, it seems Little Five has a plan. The two tacitly agreed not to let Zhu Yuji know they could hear her thoughts. So, Zhu Jimao summarized their plan. "Mother, to prevent those priests from truly targeting Little Five, why don't we strike first and say Little Five is a divine maiden? Also, I found out that those priests are father found, that have a type of chemical that ignites on contact with fire. They plan to set a trap for Little Five." After hearing this, Zhu Yuji's eyes shone with admiration. "I can't believe Big Brother found out so quickly. It's almost like someone gave him spoilers." Lu Ruiyan was laughing her head off internally. "My silly daughter, someone did give him spoilers." On the surface, she tried hard to suppress her laughter and replied to her son, "In that case, we can turn their own trick against them. They want a Star of Calamity? What does that have to do with my daughter being a divine maiden?" Zhu Yuji saw that her mother and brother understood how to counterattack and giggled. That's right. And the luminous pearl I gave little Big Brother last time, he didn't take it with him. We can put it behind but to create a glowing filter. That'll nail the divine maiden vibe. But wait a minute, why are you two talking so strangely? It's like you're acting in a play, with all the dramatic pauses. And why are you both holding my head? Lu Ruiyan and Zhu Jimao tacitly turned their heads away, pretending not to hear. "We're not going to tell you we're experiencing the wisdom of a divine maiden up close." Soon it was midnight. Both sides were ready and gathered. Zhu Yuji was dressed up like a little immortal child, sitting properly in the center of the altar. "Your Highnesses, the Prince and Princess Consort, this humble priest is about to begin." Zhu Yuji looked at her scumbag dad's hypocritical appearance and wanted to quit. Such a big spectacle. I could see scumbag dad really wants me dead. On Zhu Qiaoxing's side, just as he was about to let the priest begin, the mansion gates were violently pushed open. General Pei of the City Patrol Battalion burst in with his men. "Men, guard the mansion gates for me. Tonight, people may only enter the mansion, not leave. Your Highnesses, I received news that several masters from Qingyun Temple have predicted that a Star of Calamity will appear in the mansion tonight. His Majesty has ordered the mansion to be sealed and sent me to see what's going on." Zhu Qiaoxing was surprised that His Majesty knew, but he didn't dwell on it. This was a good thing for him. It was as if heaven itself was helping him. As long as Zhu Yuji was identified as the Star of Calamity, not even the Empress could help them. Receiving the order, the priest began his pretentious ritual, throwing the lit paper talisman onto the pre-prepared ground. Flames shot up quickly, soon forming the character for Five. General Pei saw it. Could it be referring to the Zhu family's fifth young miss? The fifth young miss is the star of calamity. For a moment, everyone was in a panic. Zhu Yuji looked speechlessly at the superstitious crowd. If you read more books, you wouldn't be so easily fooled. Zhu Qiaosheng deliberately grabbed General Pei, putting on the act of a loving father. General Pei, there must be some mistake. My little five is not a star of calamity. General Pei simply said, "Your Highness, you'd better say that to His Majesty." He then threw the man to the ground and was about to order his men to take Zhu Yuji away. Zhu Qiaosheng, who had been thrown to the ground, had a triumphant smile on his lips. But his satisfaction didn't last long. He heard someone shout, "Look, the fire hasn't stopped. New words are appearing." Below the large character for 5, the words "Divine Maiden descends, Calamity Star falls" appeared. Seeing this, everyone understood. The fifth young miss wasn't a star of calamity at all. She was a divine maiden. Everyone looked at Zhu Yuji on the platform with surprise and awe. The luminous pearl placed behind her also played its greatest role. Its soft glow further confirmed that this was a divine maiden appearing in reality. Lu Rian smiled. The scumbag's plot had failed. Instead, he had pushed the daughter he wanted to kill into the position of a divine maiden. He must be about to cough up blood from anger now. Great. When Zhu Yuji was framed as a star of calamity by her scumbag dad's hired priests, her mother Lu Ruyin turned the tables, turning her from star of calamity into a divine maiden. The scumbag dad had schemed for so long, only to pave the way for someone else. He see that internally, this daughter was truly his nemesis. Under the glow of the luminous pearl, Zhu Yuji appeared even more divine. Everyone present was completely convinced of her status as a divine maiden who had descended to the mortal world. Ignoring her scumbag dad's murderous glare, she then raised her chubby little hand and pointed at him. While everyone was wondering what this meant, they saw Zhu Qiaosheng's clothes suddenly catch fire. This scared Zhu Qiaosheng out of his princely demeanor. He paled and frantically patted at his clothes. The events of the night had repeatedly gone beyond his plans. Zhu Qiaosheng was not in a good state. In fact, his clothes had inexplicably caught fire because Lu Ruyin had sprinkled phosphorus powder on him when he wasn't looking. To perfectly coordinate with her daughter's counterattack, she pretended to be frightened and exclaimed loudly, "Could it be that the star of calamity is my husband?" Guided by her words, everyone present became convinced. So that's how it is. The divine maiden wants to destroy the star of calamity. The scumbag dad was condemned and shunned by the crowd. Zhu Yuji was gloating internally. "You damned old dog. Even if you say you're not the star of calamity now, no one will believe you." But she had still underestimated her scumbag dad's shamelessness. Zhu Qiaosheng reacted quickly, rolling on the ground with a pained expression. "I was wrong. Divine Maiden, I was wrong. Please spare me. You don't want anything to happen to your father, do you?" Zhu Qiaosheng knew very well that explanations were useless now. He could only tacitly admit that she was the divine maiden. He rolled around pretentiously for a while to show that the calamity star had been expelled. A moment later, he looked up blankly. "How did I get here? My lady, why is the mansion surrounded by so many people?" No matter how speechless everyone was, he had managed to shed the title of Star of Calamity. Zhu Yuji sighed deeply. Indeed, all the world's a stage, and it's all about acting. Knowing she couldn't do anything more to her scumbag dad, she sat quietly without any further movement. General Pei looked at her thoughtfully. Has a divine maiden truly appeared in the world? He immediately took his leave to report back to the emperor. In an alley not far from the prince's mansion, Ning Huaiming also received a report from his secret guard. He had passed the news to the Southern Yu Emperor, intending to add fuel to the fire. But unexpectedly, it became a favorable wind that helped turn Zhu Yuji from a star of calamity into a divine maiden. How frustrating. He looked up and asked the secret guard, "We're the city patrolmen." The secret guard replied, "The one surnamed Pei just went back to the palace to request an edict. An imperial decree from the Southern Yu Emperor should arrive within an hour." Ning Huaiming sighed in relief. "Then we'll wait a little longer. Let's see how the Southern Yu Emperor treats this divine maiden. It's not easy being a divine maiden. If you don't do it well, you could die." Sure enough, an hour later, everyone in the Omping Prince's mansion knelt to receive the imperial edict. By the mandate of heaven, the emperor proclaims. With peace talks between our two nations imminent, the Prince of Anping is hereby ordered to assist the Minister of the Court of State Ceremonial in negotiating a treaty with Northern Yin. Zhu Yuji heard this and thought, just as I expected. It's just like the plot. The old dog is going to negotiate with the Northern Yin envoy. If nothing unexpected happens, the talks will break down and the old dog will be dismissed from his post and imprisoned. Hee, you damned old dog. Your good days are over. She was gloating internally, but didn't expect to be implicated herself. The second half of the edict made her frantic. It is heard that the Prince of Anping's fifth daughter has the reputation of a divine maiden, that she is permitted to enter the hall on the day of the talks to ensure their success. Hearing this, Zhu Yuji's expression changed drastically. What the hell? What does this have to do with me? Life is hard. Little Five sighed. Zhu Yuji had just barely survived the calamity star disaster. But who would have thought the emperor, wary of the divine maiden's power, would order her to accompany her scumbag dad to the Northern Yin peace talks? Her good mood vanished in an instant, because in the original story, Northern Yin never intended to negotiate in the first place. How could a baby a few months old make them succeed? In their dreams. Besides, I wasn't involved in the original story. The plot has a bug. According to the original story, after the daughter-swapping plan failed, scumbag dad ran off to travel with his true love. He conveniently avoided the peace talks, so there was no later business about the Star of Calamity and the Divine Maiden. The more she thought about it, the more terrified she became. Holy cow, this plot isn't the one I read. How did the plot go off the rails without me noticing? Lu Rian heard her daughter's thoughts and also began to worry. If the negotiations are doomed to fail, that won't letting Little Five participate in the talks harm her? Now that the imperial edict has been issued, it will be very difficult to change it. But she still wanted to try to fight for her daughter. General Pei, weren't the candidates for the peace talks already decided long ago? How could it be? Before she could finish, General Pei interrupted. His Majesty has his own considerations. The prince and princess consort only need to follow the edict. I will take my leave. Lu Rian and Zhu Jima both felt that something was very wrong. They exchanged a look and tacitly returned to the room to discuss countermeasures. Mother consort, do you know about the disappearance of the Northern Yin prince who was sent for the peace talks? Lu Ruyan was startled. What prince? Didn't they just send an envoy to go through the motions? Zhu Jima stroked his sister's head and replied, His Majesty also knows that Northern Yin is just going through the motions. Why would he make such a big deal ordering Father and Little Five to attend the talks? Don't you find it strange? Whether as a star of calamity or a divine maiden, once used by others, she becomes a presence that can shake imperial power. This is something His Majesty absolutely cannot tolerate. Hearing her brother's analysis, Zhu Yuji thought, I get it now. It means both the old dog and I are finished. Although Zhu Jima had heard his sister call their father old dog several times, he still couldn't help but laugh. However, this matter is not without a chance for a turnaround. It depends on how we handle it. But I think, with father's political acumen, he must have also understood the implications. So what will he do? The words had barely left his mouth when shouts of alarm rang out from the courtyard. Help! Assassins! Lu Rian, once bitten twice shy, heard this and hugged Zhu Yuji tightly, terrified of losing her daughter again. Zhu Yuji was getting more and more horrified. What assassins now? The plot is getting more and more different from the original. Give me back the plot I know so well. Hearing her daughter's thoughts, Lu Rian grew panicked. What's happening? Is someone trying to snatch Little Five again? Seeing this, Zhu Jima quickly reassured her. Mother, please don't worry. The city patrol men haven't left yet. It's impossible for assassins to come and go without a trace. However, if I'm not mistaken, they most likely won't be able to catch the assassins. The sharp-witted Zhu Jima was almost certain whose hand was behind this. Zhu Yuji also figured it out. I get it. The damned old dog planned it himself. I have to say, the old dog's brain works pretty well. Why didn't I think of that? The mother and her two children all breathed a sigh of relief, smiling faintly. Since Zhu Qiaoshan can pretend to be assassinated to evade the peace talks, then of course Little Five can too. Zhu Jima added with a smile, the cold has been raging recently. If a child were to unfortunately catch it, His Majesty would have to be understanding. Zhu Yuji was making finger hearts like crazy in her mind. As expected of my villain brother and mom, they're as smart as I am. After her initial happiness, Lu Rian became a little worried and conflicted. Pretending to be sick is also a form of deception. What if the pretense becomes real? Zhu Yuji silently replied her mind, "Mother, don't panic. I can watch an ad to revive. If I die, I'm just pretending." Given the circumstances, this was the only way. And so, everyone in the prince's mansion soon learned that the fifth young miss was ill. Lu Rian kept a constant vigil by the small bed. Her daughter's maid suddenly burst in. "Your Highness, the prince has sent someone to see the fifth young Mississippi. The person is right outside. We can't stop them." Lu Rian grew increasingly flustered by Zhu Qiaoxing's actions. "Didn't I say little five has a sudden sweating sickness and isn't seeing anyone? Tell him to go back to the prince. Tell the prince to focus on his recovery and not to worry." When she touched her daughter's skin, she found it was burning hot. This was clearly a fever. Her face changed. Her previous worries had come true after all. The fake illness had become a real one. Her father had faked an imperial edict to avoid the trip to Hetton, and Zhu Yuji had also imitated him by feigning illness. But unexpectedly, she really did get sick. In her high fever, Zhu Yuji entered a strange environment. She didn't know how long had passed before she woke up, completely unaware of the changes to her body. A light suddenly appeared in the dark space. She found herself on a long corridor in the middle of a lake. A young man stood ahead of her, but his back was turned, so she couldn't see who it was. She really wanted to know where she was, and who the person before her was. She reached out to greet him. A slender, smooth, jade-like hand. "Whoa, how did I grow up?" she thought, startled. She quickly stood up and looked around. "Damn, I must be dreaming. Otherwise, I'm only a few months old. No matter how much I grow, I can't just become an adult in an instant." The young man in front of her turned around to look at her. It was clearly a grown-up Ning Huaiming. Zhu Yuji recognized him, and at the same time, became even more confused. "Well, you've secretly evolved too." In her mind, Ning Huaiming had always been a good person, so she approached him without any guard. "What on earth is going on?" Seeing that the young man before her didn't answer and had a cold expression, she began to wonder if she had mistaken him for someone else. Just as she was about to exchange names to get reacquainted, the young man stabbed her through the abdomen with a dagger. The sudden attack left Zhu Yuji stunned. Then, she erupted in a furious rage. "Are you insane? We're complete strangers. Why did you stab me?" But she still received no answer from the young man. Instead, she was pushed into the water to destroy the evidence. Zhu Yuji defiantly gave him the middle finger. "This is my dream. You're finished when I revive." The pain in her abdomen and the feeling of sinking were really awful. What kind of crappy dream is this? If this happens again, I'll definitely figure out why, and then kill you back. The moment the thought crossed her mind, she was back on the long corridor. That was intense. She subconsciously touched her abdomen and found it was completely unharmed. "I can really revive? Not only are there no ads, but I can also respawn. This dream is a bit magical. Let me see where the save point is." She turned her head and once again saw the cold-faced young man. Before she could react, her abdomen was stabbed by the young man's dagger again. The exact same scenario as the first time. After being stabbed, she was pushed into the water by the young man. Zhu Yuji cursed. "Are you kidding me? You're doing again? Damn it, I'm in a loop." The thought had just crossed her mind when she was once again back on the long corridor, completely unharmed. With the experience of the first 2 times, this time she reacted first. She grabbed the young man's hand beforehand, trying to turn the dagger's tip back towards him. The two began a battle of strength. Zhu Yuji sneered. "Didn't expect that, did you? I predicted your move." The few months old Zhu Yuji was in a feverish, silent sleep, trapped in a nightmare, fighting to the death with the grown-up Ning Huaiming. After dying several times, Zhu Yuji was prepared and intercepted the dagger aimed at her. After a struggle with Ning Huaiming, they both retreated to a safe distance. She roared at Ning Huaiming, "Even though I don't know why you're in my dream, to stop you from repeatedly killing me, I have to tell you, you've already stabbed me at least 3 times. 3 times. At first, I thought I'd just endure it. But on second thought, why should I back down? If you can't stand me, can't you just go die yourself? Why are you stabbing me?" Hearing this, Ning Huaiming's eyes flickered. He looked at the dagger in his hand. He felt like the blade should have already gone in. A sudden pain shot through his head. He, who had entered someone else's dream, also awakened his consciousness. The scenes of the previous killings flashed in his mind. So what she said was true. Zhu Yuji got angry, seeing Ning Huaiming's look of dawning realization. "This is my dream. Of course you don't remember, but I don't know if it was 3 times either. Maybe it's been thousands or tens of thousands of times. Ning Huaiming could see that Zhu Yuji didn't seem to know that he also had memories of this dream. He didn't plan on telling her. He deliberately brandished the dagger in his hand. Since it's always been like this, shouldn't I continue? Hearing this, Zhu Yuji instinctively backed away. Big brother, why are you so stubborn? What I mean is, one of us has to back down first to get out of this dream loop. I'm not telling you to keep stabbing me, understand? Seeing that he had scared her enough, Ning Huaiming put away the dagger at the right moment. Since you remember, why didn't you stop me the second time I killed you? Zhu Yuji flared up at his words. You think I wanted to be killed by you? By the time I respawned and came back, your dagger was already coming at me. You pushed me into the water so skillfully. I'm more innocent than you. She paused. She looked the grown-up kiddo bro up and down. Do you think we might have some kind of past life connection? Don't Xinxia dramas always have plots like this? You kill me, I kill you in a dream, and it corresponds to reality. It's all about an inseparable, messy entanglement. Ning Huaiming didn't expect her to have hit upon a small part of the truth with her wild guess, but he didn't want to answer that question. Composing his complex expression, he looked around. We need to see how to get out. Zhu Yuji was easily distracted by his change of subject. She secretly mocked him. This big brother looks decent, but his IQ isn't too high. He's not even thinking about how to find an exit in a dream. Speaking of which, she hadn't seen what she looked like as an adult yet. There were no mirrors here, but there was the lake water. She excitedly leaned over the edge of the lake and looked down. The lake reflected her exquisite little face. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she was as beautiful as a celestial fairy. In an instant, the oppressive feeling from the death loop dream vanished without a trace. She happily admired her own beautiful face. Whoa, so I'm this beautiful. I'm sure there's no man in this world whose face is worthy of mine. So I'm preparing to take a concubine first. Ning Huaiming looked at her various displays of confidence, utterly speechless. Just as he was about to say something, the dream space began to distort. It looked like the dream was about to end. Zhu Yuji felt it even more keenly. She turned to say something to Ning Huaiming, but before she could even touch his sleeve, she fell completely. In reality, Zhu Yuji suddenly woke up, completely unaware of her current illness. She opened her eyes and saw a handsome young man watching over her bed. He was happily shouting that she was awake. Junior's sister. Her mind was still foggy. What's going on? The handsome young man had already run outside. Junior's sister, you're awake. I'll go tell Master right away. Hearing this, Zhu Yuji was completely baffled. What master? What junior sister? Who am I? Where am I? Where's my mother? How did the world change after just one dream? A moment later, the master the young man spoke of slowly walked in. Well, the little girl is really awake. When Yuji opened her eyes again, she was very confused. How did the world change after just one dream? The old Taoist who had rushed over upon hearing the news chuckled and pinched Zhu Yuji's cheek. Little girl, I am the Valley Master of Medicine King Valley. Do you know why you are here? Zhu Yuji had just ended a dream and was now in a strange place with strange people, already confused. Hearing this, she was even more bewildered. Suddenly, she saw the handsome young man behind the old Taoist. Oh, finally, a familiar face. She immediately rushed towards the young man, tears streaming down her face. Kiddo bro, my dear brother from another mother, why are you here? The young man, who called himself her senior brother, was very curious. What is Junior's sister babbling about? I can't understand a thing. Zhu Yuji's thoughts were completely immersed in her reunion with Ning Huaiming, and she paid no mind to what others were saying. At this moment, she also noticed something strange. By the way, kiddo bro, I feel like you've grown a bit. Ning Huaiming looked at the girl in his arms in amazement, his heart in turmoil. This child clearly didn't speak, but I could hear what she said. Could it be that I'm hearing her thoughts? Even though it's the first time we've met, I don't find it strange at all. He thought for a moment and decided to ask, do you know me? Zhu Yuji's excited heart suddenly turned cold. True heartbreak isn't about loud quarrels. It's when I'm right in front of you and you say you don't know me. Have you forgotten the days we hid in a basket together, fled famine together, and even slept in the same bed? It's only been a few days and you don't recognize me? Zhu Yuji radiated an aura of sorrow, like someone abandoned by a heartless lover, making Ning Huaiming's mouth twitch. He looked up at the Valley Master of Medicine King Valley, confused. There are many things I don't understand since waking up. For example, who is this 3-year-old child? Zhu Yuji's crying stopped abruptly. What? I'm 3 years old? A wave of panic washed over her. She looked at her slightly larger hands. No wonder I can't talk yet. But how am I 3 years old again? Weren't I just a teenager? Could it be that I've entered another dream? The thought of the death loop in the dream made her feel exhausted. She didn't know what she would have to go through in this dream. With all the changes happening to her, it never occurred to her that this might be real. She raised her fists and started pounding on Ning Huaiming, trying to wake up from this dream quickly. Her little heart couldn't take it anymore. The Valley Master beside them cleared his throat twice, interrupting Zhu Yuji's wild thoughts. He took out a letter and gave it to his disciple. This little girl is your junior sister. First, read the letter her mother left for her. The young disciple thought, junior sister can't even talk. Could she really understand? But he still followed his master's orders and began to read the letter. My child, little 5, you suddenly fell ill and into a coma. Mother had no other choice but to entrust you to Mr. Li, the Valley Master of Medicine King Valley. He has taken you as his disciple and will treat your illness in the valley. After becoming a disciple of Medicine King Valley, you must listen to Mr. Li and not be naughty. When you have fully recovered, Mother will come to get you. After hearing her mother's words, Zhu Yuji understood that this was reality and what she was about to face. I've been in a coma for so long, Mother must have been worried sick. She also missed her mother's embrace so much. She cried inconsolably. The young disciple, as her senior brother, patted her head sympathetically. Junior sister, don't be sad. The rest of his words were suddenly cut off by a sound in his mind. A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering cry interrupted him. The little girl's voice was utterly devastated. Oh my God, I don't want to study medicine. The young man's eyes widened. What's going on? Did I just hear my junior sister's thoughts? How magical. He composed himself and gently coaxed his junior sister. In Medicine King Valley, you can not only learn medicine, but also poisons and goo arts. The Valley Master smacked him on the head twice, interrupting his inappropriate timing. The little girl just woke up. Her mental age is that of a 1-year-old infant. She can't even talk. She can't learn even if she wanted to. What are you telling her all this for? He then looked at Ning Huaiming. As for you, you were sent here by Master Minji to recuperate. You're older than the little girl, so you're her senior brother. Any questions? Ning Huaiming nodded. May I ask, sir, what illness do I have? The Valley Master replied, a problem with your brain. Zhu Yuji let out an unkind laugh. After all, that answer could easily be misinterpreted. Ning Huaiming fell silent for a moment, his tone certain. So that's why I lost a part of my memory. Zhu Yuji's eyes sparkled with gossip. Amnesia too? How dramatic. The Valley Master subconsciously blurted out. How did you know? Ning Huaiming picked up Zhu Yuji and chuckled softly. The moment she saw me, she rushed over very excitedly for a hug. She clearly knows me, but I don't remember. Zhu Yuji haughtily pursed her lips. When did I ask for a hug? I was asking for attention. Okay? The Valley Master was quite impressed with Ning Huaiming. Such insight at such a young age. Minji was right. This kid is indeed a sharp one. In that case, I'll have to be more careful when talking to him. I can't just tell him that Minji asked me to seal his memories. Waking up after 3 years to find a master, a senior brother, and an amnesiac kiddo bro was quite absurd and melodramatic. The ever-perceptive and resourceful Ning Huaiming, through just a few sentences, had confirmed that he had inexplicably lost a part of his memory. The Valley Master of Medicine King Valley certainly couldn't tell Ning Huaiming that Master Minji had asked him to seal his memories. When dealing with a sharp person, the more you say, the more you risk slipping up. He made an excuse. I still have things to do. I'll leave this to you. Senior Brother Yi, we'll talk later. Ning Huaiming didn't get a straight answer, but wasn't in a hurry. He placed Zhu Yuji back on the bed. As the disciple left behind by his master to clean up the mess, Yi Jing also felt helpless. After a sigh, he turned around with a standard smile and introduced himself. My surname is Yi, and my given name is Jing. I usually stay in the main courtyard. Ning Huaiming also cupped his hands in response. But subconsciously, he didn't use his real name, instead saying, I am Ning Qi. He didn't know why this name had inexplicably flashed through his mind. When he came to his senses, he found that his senior brother had no intention of getting to know him. He was gently and patiently coaxing the 3-year-old girl. Junior sister, if you need anything, you can find me over there. And Zhu Yuji, upon hearing the young man's introduction, felt a storm raging in her heart. Her inner complaints were endless. Good heavens, Yi Jing. Isn't he the third simp character from the third novel? Yi Jing touched his junior sister's head and once again heard her thoughts. He was amazed and his face was full of questions. A constant stream of his junior sister's thoughts poured into his ears. In the early stages, Yi Jing's character is a gentle and sickly prince. From his first appearance, he's a total simp for the heroine. Every time the heroine is abused to within an inch of her life by the male lead, Yi Jing appears like an airdropped medkit, specifically to keep the heroine alive. But one day, he suddenly turns dark. No one knows that every time he feeds the heroine medicine, he secretly adds poison. The reason he doesn't use a poison that kills instantly is that he wants the heroine to live in pain and torment for the rest of her life. The plot twist was so shocking that even I, with my civilized upbringing, couldn't help but blurt out a fuck. As for why he added poison, it seems to be because of a grudge against the Zhu family. But before the grudge was explained, he was killed by the male lead. Now, my legs are short and my hands are short. How am I supposed to survive in this atmosphere? This stupid plot doesn't even explain things clearly and just sends me here to die. Spirits of heaven and earth, before I figure out the grudge Yi Jing holds, please don't let him find out I'm from the Zhu family. Zhu Yuji clasped her hands together and prayed devoutly, having no idea that her inner thoughts had already given her away. After hearing everything, Yi Jing was even more confused. Simp? Who's the heroine? I have a grudge against the Zhu family? How come I don't know that? Now, he was even more interested in and concerned about this junior sister. The quiet, silent atmosphere made Zhu Yuji panic. Seeing your brother's identity is too terrifying. As the only law-abiding citizen here, kiddo bro, you're my only hope. She decisively reached out her hands to Ning Huaiming, asking for a hug. Ning Huaiming received the signal and was about to take her when Yi Jing blocked him. He stood between them with a smile. You go back and rest first. I'll take care of junior sister. Ning Huaiming, who could hear her thoughts from a distance, nodded knowingly and left. Zhu Yuji looked at Ning Huaiming, signaling with her eyes until they cramped, but he decisively abandoned her. So much for hiding in a basket and wandering together. She stared resentfully at the young man's departing back. Yi Jing quickly blocked her line of sight. Junior sister, listen to senior brother. Not a single man is a good person. Zhu Yuji was speechless. There's nothing wrong with that statement. Back in his room, Ning Huaiming tried hard to recall his lost memories. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember. The more it was like this, the more he wanted to know why he had come to Southern Yu from Northern Yin. Why on earth did Master Minji leave him here? He remembered that when he was just born, he was about to be executed. It was Master Minji who knelt before his imperial father and guaranteed with his own life that he was by no means a demon spawn. In the following years, he also frequently intervened to save and educate him. He firmly believed that Master Minji would not harm him since he was young. If it weren't for him strongly defending him in front of his imperial father, he wouldn't have survived until now. However, he always felt that the lost memories were crucial. He suddenly thought of the girl who had rushed towards him during the day. His thoughts suddenly became clear. Ever since he could remember, he had been imprisoned in a pavilion and had never been to Southern Yu. Yet that girl recognized him. If he wanted to retrieve his memories, that girl was a very good breakthrough point. A plan called Operation Inseparable was quietly born. Ning Huaiming tossed and turned, unable to sleep, wanting to know about his lost memories. In a courtyard not far away, Zhu Yuji was also having trouble sleeping, getting a fever for no reason, entering a dream for no reason, waking up and growing to 3 years old for no reason, and being thousands of miles away from home for no reason. On the nth day away from home, she missed her mom, Mr. Mom, Mr. Mom. I really want to tell my mom that I'm not a coward. But when late night comes, 1,000 words become just one sentence. I'm just a little coward who misses his mommy. Why are you doing this to me? Oh, my beautiful and gentle mother, I miss you so much. After reminiscing, she worried about her current situation. The heroine of the third book is the daughter of my scumbag dad's true love, who became the 5th young miss of the Omping Prince's mansion, Zhu Yuji. But the problem is, I transmigrated and changed the character's fates. Now I am that Zhu Yuji. Don't tell me the heroine's plot will end up falling on me. Another day of not wanting to live. Just then, the window was opened. She looked up. Well, kiddo bro. I'm in the middle of a late-night emo session. What are you doing climbing through my window? Ning Huaiming heard Zhu Yuji's inner thoughts. He jumped in without changing his expression. I came to ask you how we met. I want to know what my lost memories are. You can act it out for me. I can understand. Zhu Yuji knew that the former kiddo bro had always wanted to kill her, but they had also gone through hardships together. At least on the surface, there was nothing wrong with kiddo bro. She had always had a good impression of him and didn't want to lose him as a friend. Hearing his words, she cleared her throat twice and began to narrate with great emotion. Our meeting actually stemmed from a mutual salvation. You were the handsome boy being hunted by your stepmother, and I was the beautiful girl abandoned by my own father. In that smoke-filled night, a basket covered you, and thus our unbreakable bond was forged. Later, you were almost killed by assassins sent by your stepmother. At that critical moment, it was a who stepped forward, throwing powder, spilling blood, and knocking someone out all in one smooth motion. Just like that, you came back to my home with me. You ate good food, wore good clothes, and slept in a good bed. But the good times didn't last. Sad news came, your father died. Then you, overwhelmed with grief, went home and inherited a multi-billion-dollar fortune. After hearing this, Ning Huaiming stared quietly at Zhu Yuji, highly doubting the truth of the story. Zhu Yuji scratched her head in embarrassment. From a literary perspective, I did some embellishing, but these are indeed things you told me yourself. I am absolutely not exaggerating. Hearing this, Ning Huaiming was more or less convinced, but he grew even more confused inside. His brain, trying to recall, began to throb with pain. If my imperial father's concubines count as stepmothers, then I do have stepmothers. But those people never paid me any mind. How could they send people to hunt me down? Besides, my imperial father is alive and well. How could he have died? Could it be that my brain really has a problem? Just as he was falling into a state of delusion, Zhu Yuji suddenly threw herself into his arms, interrupting his wild thoughts. Ning Huaiming was startled. What are you doing? Zhu Yuji stared at his face and giggled inwardly. Seeing you again this time, I feel like you've changed. You've changed for the better. Hearing this, a wave of heat shot straight to Ning Huaiming's head, and his cheeks burned red. He didn't dare to look at the girl's sparkling eyes in front of him anymore. He turned his head away and said, "You're a girl. Don't you know any shame? Even though you're young, you're still a girl. Don't just get so close and stare at a man like that. It will make people think you're not reserved." Zhu Yuji was speechless. "Big brother, I'm only 3. Then she realized this guy might be Tsundere. Well, a hidden attribute of my senior brother has been revealed. How cute. Ning Huaiming didn't understand what Tsundere was, but he found the girl in front of him more and more likable. Suddenly, a gentle voice came, accompanied by the sound of a door opening. Junior sister. Yi Jing was worried that his junior sister, being so young, wouldn't sleep well. He came over specially to check on her, only to see Ning Huaiming was also there. Without hesitation, he grabbed a nearby bamboo pole and lunged towards Ning Huaiming. "You shameless lecher, what are you doing here in the middle of the night? Let go of my junior sister." Ning Huaiming hurriedly dodged and explained that he had just come to ask how they met. "If you don't believe me, ask her." He turned his head only to find that the protagonist had already fallen asleep. The two of them froze in their fighting stances, stunned by this junior sister who could fall asleep at the drop of a hat. A battle was thus averted. Youth is wonderful. Waking up from a dream, Zhu Yuji was already 3 years old, and Ning Huaiming, whose memory was deliberately sealed by the abbot, became her senior brother in Medicine King Valley. The two of them had been studying medicine in Medicine King Valley for 3 years. Zhu Yuji had even become a figure both loved and feared by the villagers. "Quick, run. Aji is here. She's going to make us test her poisons again. Run." Zhu Yuji didn't understand why everyone avoided her like the plague the moment they saw her. In her memory, she was very kind and hadn't done anything bad. She quickly called out to the slowest runner, "Auntie Lee, I heard you've had rheumatism recently. I have some freshly prepared medicine here." Annie Lee, who had experienced Zhu Yuji's medical skills, shivered instinctively upon hearing this. Not wanting to hurt the child's feelings, she politely refused. "Aji, don't listen to their gossip. Annie Lee, I'm not sick." Knowing that saying this would still lead to an enthusiastic treatment from Zhu Yuji, and her old bones couldn't take her torment, she pointed to the little dog she kept. "It's Fugue who's sick." For Zhu Yuji, it didn't matter if it was a person or a dog. As long as she knew someone was sick, she was very enthusiastic. "Let me see." She picked up the little gray dog. "Has Fugue been neutered?" "My senior brother and I have learned a new castration technique. I guarantee it'll be quick and painless." Annie Lee had thought that pushing Fugue forward would get her off the hook. She never expected Zhu Yuji to be even more. She snatched Fugue back and ran for her life. "Azi, Fugue hasn't been a father yet. Save your skills for someone else." Seeing this, Zhu Yuji sighed. "I just want to treat their illnesses, but they avoid me like a snake. My kind self has been misunderstood my whole life. Forget it, it's about to rain. I'd better go find Brother Chi. Soon, she familiarly pushed open the door to Ning Huaiming's room, but he wasn't there. Could he be in his medicinal bath again? She walked behind the screen and peeked, but still didn't see him. She only saw a huge bathtub, and the person she was looking for was in the tub. At this moment, Ning Huaiming's body below his eyes was completely submerged in the water, and had been for some time. He was silent and motionless, as if he had fallen asleep. The next moment, his scalp tingled in pain. A strong force grabbed his hair and lifted him up. Following the force, he turned his head to look. Good heavens, it was this girl again. Zhu Yuji suddenly came face to face with a large face. She screamed instinctively and, in her panic, pushed him back into the tub. This time, Ning Huaiming's entire body was submerged in the water. He thrashed around uncomfortably. He accidentally grabbed Zhu Yuji's hand and pulled her into the tub as well. Falling into the water so suddenly was a death sentence for Zhu Yuji, who couldn't swim. Fortunately, she was quickly pulled up by Ning Huaiming. She successfully coughed out the water she had inhaled, but sprayed it all over Ning Huaiming's face. This made the already somewhat gloomy Ning Huaiming even more annoyed. Zhu Yuji, what are you doing? Zhu Yuji replied meekly, if I said I was afraid you would drown and wanted to save you, would you believe me? Don't you always pass out whenever it thunders and rains? I saw it was about to rain outside and was afraid you'd fall asleep while bathing. The concern in her words instantly quelled Ning Huaiming's anger. Although he felt a little warm inside, there were some things he still had to say. Your way of saving me is to almost press me to death in the water? Besides, with your height, it's more likely you drown. You think you could drown me? His words truly pierced Zhu Yuji's heart. So sad, so helpless, so tired. I feel like a donkey that's been pulling a mill all day, only to be whipped by its heartless owner. Ning Huaiming was already used to her drama. He sighed and lifted her out of the tub. He also explained, I wasn't bathing. I was trying to use some extreme methods to stimulate my memories. I want to know what I've forgotten from my past. But in the past 3 years at Medicine King Valley, Zhu Yuji's half-baked medical skills have scared away many villagers. Meanwhile, Ning Huaiming has been trying non-stop for 3 years to regain his memories. But even nearly drowning himself in water failed to stimulate their recovery. Zhu Yuji doesn't understand. Since they're in Medicine King Valley and he wants to get his memories back, why doesn't he go to their master? Ning Huaiming gave a wry smile upon hearing this. If their master wanted to treat him, he would have done so long ago instead of constantly putting him off. He didn't say it out loud. After all, in his mind, Zhu Yuji was just a 6-year-old child. Explaining the complex thoughts of adults to her would be a bit much. He grabbed the back of Zhu Yuji's collar, lifting her like a kitten, and started walking out. Come on, I'll take you back. Zhu Yuji immediately struggled fiercely, protesting loudly. I don't want to. I want to sleep with you. Ning Huaiming ignored her struggles and replied, boys and girls shouldn't share a room after the age of 7. Zhu Yuji reacted instantly, skillfully acting cute and spoiled. I'm only 6. We'll talk about it again when I'm 7. Ning Huaiming was unmoved, still dropping the 2 cold words. No. Zhu Yuji sighed, looking small and helpless. I'll sleep here. It's about to thunder. I have to stay with you, or you'll have nightmares again. Hearing this, a warmth spread through Ning Huaiming's heart, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. So she was worried about him. Come to think of it, for the past 3 years, she had indeed come to sleep with him whenever it rained and thundered. Whenever she was there, he rarely had nightmares. It had gotten to the point where he was a little unused to sleeping alone now. Thinking of this, he compromised and agreed. Zhu Yuji was used to being picked up and put down. Practice makes perfect, and she finally landed steadily instead of face-planting. Then she dashed back to her room to change into her sleepwear before returning. In the middle of the night, Ning Huaiming fell into a dream again. He saw several generals arguing in a military camp. I disagree. The 7th prince negotiated for a long time to restore diplomatic relations between our 2 nations. It's only been 2 years. Why tear it up now? But before the general could finish, his throat was slit with a sword. And the one who slit his throat was none other than Ning Huaiming's maternal uncle. He firmly believed that peace talks were a method used by cowards and nobodies. We are the finest men of Northern Yin. Why not follow me and take the lands of Southern Yu directly? I have already submitted a petition to His Majesty. If we lose this battle, I am willing to take my own life. The dreaming Ning Huaiming's heart trembled at this scene. He wanted to tell his uncle they couldn't go to war that they would lose. However, he couldn't touch the people in his dream. Instead, the scene changed to a grand hall in the palace. The emperor and his civil and military officials were listening to an urgent report from 800 li away. "Your Majesty, General Jinghua, Bai Lu, has absconded and fled." The emperor flew into a rage upon hearing this. The court officials split into two factions. Some began to stir up trouble. As expected of a foreign race, his heart is treacherous. Now that Northern Yin has been defeated in battle, and Bai Lu has fled, how are we to answer to the people? "Your Majesty, this humble servant has a plan. The treaty was signed by the Seventh Highness, and this Bai Lu is the Seventh Highness's maternal uncle. Why not send the Seventh Highness to Southern Yu as a hostage? This way, we can also show Southern Yu our sincerity in seeking peace." Ning Huaiming witnessed the shameless faces of certain court officials and let out a cold laugh. "A man sits at home, yet disaster falls from the sky. I wonder how you will choose, Father Emperor." Although I have never felt any fatherly love from this Father Emperor of mine, at this moment I still held a sliver of hope. Even a most venomous tiger does not eat its cubs. Perhaps Father Emperor still has some feelings. However, the Emperor's answer once again made his heart sink to the bottom. The Emperor agreed with a nod, almost without thinking. As everyone knows, being a hostage in another country is a life or death situation filled with humiliation. Ning Huaiming listened to the sighs of the upright ministers. His Majesty is planning to abandon the seventh prince. It was clearly Northern Yin that broke the treaty first, yet the seventh prince must bear the consequences. How pitiful. He suddenly burst out laughing, a painful and crazed laugh. No longer expecting anything. Did he know the outcome all along? Since childhood, why was he always the one to be abandoned? On what grounds? On what grounds? His whole being was trapped in his inner demons, unable to break free. In reality, Zhu Yuji saw Ning Huaiming covered in sweat with a contorted expression and knew he was having a nightmare again. She called out while trying to wake him, "Big brother, wake up!" Ning Huaiming finally woke from the dream, but the oppressive pain in his chest made him spit out a pool of blood the moment he opened his eyes. It was clear how severe his inner demons were. His hatred for that heartless and ungrateful Father Emperor had become an obsession. The young man had seen the future in his dream and once again clearly understood his Father Emperor's cruelty and heartlessness. After being woken up, Ning Huaiming, filled with grief and indignation, spat out a mouthful of stagnant blood. This terrified Zhu Yuji, who was beside him. She knew the kid brother would have nightmares on stormy, thundering days, but this was the first time he had woken up and vomited blood. She really didn't know what he had dreamed about. She quickly got out of bed and ran out to drag their master over. The Valley Master arrived, panting and a little annoyed. "You rushed me over here because Ning Qi vomited blood. So, where's the blood?" Zhu Yuji went over to Ning Huaiming's side to look. There was no blood on the corner of his mouth or on the sheets. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would have doubted herself. "Brother, are you the Flash? You cleaned up so quickly." Ning Huaiming looked at the Valley Master. "I've just been overly worried lately. Being stimulated like this today actually made me spit out the stagnant blood in my chest. Now, not only am I fine, I feel refreshed." The Valley Master nodded. "All right, then this old man won't meddle. I'm leaving." He was terrified of talking to Ning Huaiming because the boy was intelligent and sharp. One slip up and he'd be tricked into revealing things. He quickly tried to slip away, but the next second, his hair was grabbed tightly by his little disciple. "Master, since you're already here, aren't you going to check on him?" The sharp pain on his scalp made the Valley Master stop in his tracks. Ning Huaiming, on the bed, watched this familiar scene and recalled the memory of being grabbed by the hair and lifted by Zhu Yuji. He inexplicably felt his own scalp tingle. The Valley Master sighed, rubbing his scalp as he looked at Ning Huaiming. "You've already waited for 3 years, so there's no need to be anxious for these few days. What's meant to come will come soon." Ning Huaiming understood the Valley Master's hidden meaning, but he had already hidden in the valley for 3 years of peace and quiet, which was why he was anxious now. The Valley Master said no more and turned to leave. Ning Huaiming had no intention of keeping him either. He knew very well that the Valley Master couldn't even be bothered to find perfunctory words anymore. Zhu Yuji looked back and forth. What riddle were these two playing at? But she was easygoing. If she couldn't figure out, she wouldn't dwell on it. She climbed onto the bed and asked Ning Huaiming seriously, "Was the dream very scary this time? Tell me about it." Ning Huaiming looked at the 6-year-old little ball in front of him. He suppressed his desire to confide and changed the subject. I don't remember. It's not important. You can go back to sleep now. Seeing he wouldn't say, Zhu Yuji didn't press him. She threw herself into his arms. I'm still worried. Let's just sleep together. Ning Huaiming had just started to say he didn't need her. When he was physically overpowered and threatened by Zhu Yuji. Say that again. I didn't hear you clearly. Ning Huaiming helplessly compromised. All right. I need you, okay? On the surface, he acted oppressed, but his heart was actually quite warm. Seeing this, Zhu Yuji smugly complained in her heart, "Humph, little punk, trying to act spoiled with me. You're clearly touched, aren't you?" Hearing her thoughts, Ning Huaiming suddenly flipped over, rolling Zhu Yuji over first and covering her with a blanket. It was to cover up his own little bit of smugness that had been exposed. As Zhu Yuji frantically struggled to get out from under the blanket, Ning Huaiming suddenly asked, "Do you believe in fate?" Zhu Yuji poked her head out to look at him. It depends on what kind of fate. For example, a twitch in the left, means wealth. A twitch in the right means disaster. If my left eye twitches, I believe it. If my right eye twitches, then it's just my eyelid twitching. Ning Huaiming was rendered speechless by her answer. The next second, he heard Zhu Yuji's inner complaints again. No wonder this kid is starting to believe in feudal superstitions. He turns dark every time it thunders. He really doesn't have the fate of an overbearing CEO. An overbearing CEO. Hearing this, Ning Huaiming raised an eyebrow impassively, very confused. What was this feudal and overbearing CEO? She mentioned her thoughts. Zhu Yuji was completely unaware and patted Ning Huaiming's shoulder comfortingly. Don't panic. Even though you're just an NPC, I won't abandon you. Don't worry. You have a problem. I have the cure. Before she could finish, she was ruthlessly pushed by Ning Huaiming. She grunted, "Darn it. How did you get fatter again?" and grabbed Ning Huaiming to continue rolling. "You must not regain your memories. My medicine specializes in curing darkening. Even Black Widow would want to remarry after drinking it. There might be some side effects, but all medicine is 1/3 poison." Hearing this, Ning Huaiming couldn't help but laugh, interrupting her. "Are you sure it's only 1/3 poison?" He remembered very clearly. A villager in a valley just had a toothache. She prescribed medicine, and the person had diarrhea for 3 whole days and came looking for her. She even said it was to treat the toothache and that if he drank one more dose, she guaranteed he'd never have a toothache again in his life. Thinking about it, what she said was right. After all, if he drank another dose of her medicine, he could move on to his next life. Thinking of this, he refused without any room for negotiation. No need. Those who know would say you're prescribing medicine. Those who don't would think you're poisoning someone. All right, let's sleep. After speaking, he closed his eyes and stopped talking. Zhu Yuji pouted. How could such cold words come from a 37-degree mouth? Her strong spirit was still slightly hit. She lay to one side and pulled the blanket over. Fine, I'm going to sleep too. Half a shurchen later, a fast-asleep Zhu Yuji unconsciously moved closer to Ning Huaiming and even wrapped her arms around him. The warmth on his back made Ning Huaiming, who was just about to fall asleep, open his eyes. Although the amnesiac Ning Huaiming was troubled by his inability to find his lost memories and often fell into demonic dreams, this 6-year-old little ball next to him was warming him with all her might. A crack had appeared in his usually cold heart. He gently removed the small hand resting on him. Looking at her tightly closed eyes, as if she were sound asleep, he lifted her bangs. She still didn't wake up. The man in the dream probably had an idea. He then got out of bed, casually threw on a robe, and prepared to go out. Just as he reached the door, Zhu Yuji, who was supposed to be fast asleep, quietly opened her eyes. Then she sat up, laughing triumphantly in her heart. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. I knew you were hiding something from me. You can hide your strange state from others, but can you hide it from my sharp eyes? She got out of bed, found some things to disguise herself, and initiated tracking mode. She praised herself in her heart for becoming so capable. She followed him all the way without the kid brother noticing. As she saw the place Ning Huaiming was heading towards, that become more and more familiar, Zhu Yuji suddenly realized. Isn't this the forbidden place that senior brother strictly prohibited them from going to? Speaking of which, the current situation was really like a horror movie plot where the protagonist insists on going to a forbidden place to court death. The survival rules for transmigrators: don't pick up things you shouldn't, don't go to places you shouldn't, don't eat things you shouldn't. Thinking this, she decisively gave up tracking him and turned to go back the way she came. Who knew that when she looked up, she would meet the kid brother's handsome face with a half smile and his chilling voice. Why did you stop following? already feeling guilty. Zhu Yuji was so scared her soul almost left her body. She had forgotten the kid brother knew martial arts and could appear in a flash. She wisely dropped her disguise and admitted her mistake. I don't dare to follow. I don't dare. I don't want to be cannon fodder. By the way, how did you know I was following you? I thought my disguise was flawless. Ning Kuaiming Smilet. No one's eyeballs move around while they're asleep. Zhu Yuji's face instantly turned red. So, she had been exposed while still under the covers. And she had been so proud of herself. How embarrassing. She wiped away non-existent tears and tried to slip away. Okay, you can continue. I'll go back first. She had only taken 2 steps before being grabbed by the back of her collar and pulled back. This is not up to you. Due to the height and weight difference, Zhu Yuji was at a great disadvantage. No matter how she struggled and refused to go, she couldn't change the outcome of being carried like a kitten. I'm not going. If you want me to go, it'll be over my dead body. Ning Huaiming's steps paused. He smiled with exceptional kindness, his voice calm and ripple-free. Then you can go die. Zhu Yuji immediately behaved. She complained in her heart. This kid's expression just turned evil in an instant. If I wasn't sure you were just a background character, I would really mistake you for a villain who turns hostile in a flash. In order not to go to the forbidden place to court death, she decided to retreat in order to advance. She said with a smile, since elder brother insists that younger sister go in, then younger sister will go in. However, before she could finish her sentence, Ning Huaiming gave up. Zhu Yuji was furious in her heart. Plan A failed before it even started. How did this guy predict my prediction? Then, when the first plan failed, she moved on to the next. She started throwing a tantrum on the ground. I'm not going. After rolling around for a while, she noticed the other party neither made a sound nor reacted. She stopped to peek at what he was doing and saw Ning Huaiming tossing something in his hand. A bright light was reflected on his face. Zhu Yuji's eyes widened. Holy crap, he's actually going to pull a knife on me. She quickly scrambled up and obediently led the way. Actually, I've long been extremely curious about the forbidden place. I love exploring. I love courting death. Let's go quickly. Ning Huaiming was a bit confused by this child's train of thought. Just a moment ago, she was throwing a tantrum on the ground, refusing to go. Why was she so eager now? He was originally planning to offer her the jade pendant as a lure. He didn't expect her to agree before he even took it out. But this was good too. He took the initiative to hold Zhu Yuji's hand and walk towards the depths of the back mountain. A wave of warmth passed through his heart. He thought Zhu Yuji's abnormal behavior was ultimately because she was worried about him, and he accepted this kindness. Meanwhile, Zhu Yuji thought the kid brother was pulling out a dagger. Rather than being dragged there with a knife to her throat, it was better to go voluntarily so they could remain good siblings. The kid brother, who had just had a nightmare and was in a bad mood, was taking his sister for a walk in the mountains. Driven by worry and curiosity, Zhu Yuji followed him, only to be caught. Hand in hand with the kid brother, she walked deeper into the mountain, but her heart was exceptionally cautious. She thought, the kid brother isn't going to take me into the woods and chop me up, is he? Ning Huaiming looked at Zhu Yuji's nervous little steps and heard her apprehensive thoughts, feeling a bit speechless. But he still looked down and reassured her, don't worry. I won't do anything to you. Close your eyes. Hearing this, Zhu Yuji was not reassured at all. Instead, she was so scared she kept backing away. Really? You're being so mysterious. You're not planning to ambush me while my eyes are closed, are you? Ning Huaiming was already used to his little junior sister's wild imagination. He patiently explained, if I wanted to harm you, would I have to bring you all the way here? Zhu Yuji thought about what he said, and, though still not entirely at ease, closed her eyes. She hadn't even closed them for a second before opening them again. Promise you won't launch a sneak attack. Although I may seem to just go with the flow, I'm actually afraid of dying. Ning Kuaiming Smilet Kingdi. I said I won't, so I won't. Then he took out a sachet from his clothes. Looking at the little girl with her eyes squeezed shut and knowing her mischievous nature, he decisively cut the silk ribbon from the sachet and used it to cover Zhu Yuji's eyes. Feeling the layer of cloth over her eyes, Zhu Yuji protested loudly. You don't trust me at all. This is an insult to my character. Ning Huaiming raised his eyes and said calmly, shouldn't I? Zhu Yuji was instantly deflated. You should. Your insult is justified. After making sure Zhu Yuji really wouldn't open her eyes midway, Ning Huaiming took out the sachet and poured out the powder inside. He gently blew the powder from his palm in all directions, then said, you can look now. As Zhu Yuji untied the blindfold, she grumbled, what a waste of time. Tying a knot and being all mysterious. But when her eyes were free and she saw the twinkling green lights before her, the dark forest was rendered dreamlike by countless fireflies. She cheered and danced with joy. This is so much like an idle drama. The anxiety she felt when entering the forest, that was all washed away by this beautiful scene. Joy filled her heart. She looked up at Ning Huaiming. How did you do that? Ning Huaiming smiled slightly. Did you forget that today is your birthday? He then took out an auspicious cloud hair ornament and gave it to Zhu Yuji. Zhu Yuji really hadn't expected it. The kid brother not only created a romantic scene, but also had an extra gift. She asked in disbelief, "Is this for me?" Ning Huaiming took her hand and placed the hair ornament in her palm. "On this auspicious day, a small gift for you." Zhu Yuji's heart felt warm. She happily clenched the gift. "Thank you, seventh brother. I love it. But how did you summon so many fireflies?" Ning Huaiming sat down on the spot and spoke slowly. "I happened to see in an ancient text that there's a medicinal powder that can attract fireflies. Since the valley has no shortage of medicinal herbs, I try to make some. You should learn from me and make more of these things that neither harm others nor yourself." Zhu Yuji remembered how everyone in the valley now avoided letting her diagnose them or prescribe medicine. She pouted. "Even in such a beautiful scene, you don't forget to mock me." Seeing this, Ning Huaiming smiled sincerely. "Let's not talk about that. This surprise, that I actually learned it from you." Zhu Yuji looked completely baffled. "Ning Huaiming, Smile, it was you. You said that to prepare a surprise for someone, you have to be harsh first and then gentle. The harsher the beginning, the greater the joy at the end." Zhu Yuji instantly remembered that terrible day she had created. So the first half of tonight, where she was scared out of her wits, was all her own doing. In the depths of the valley in the middle of the night, fireflies lit up the darkness. Only then did Zhu Yuji realize why Ning Huaiming went to so much trouble. It was to celebrate her birthday. Although the result was happy, the process was heart-pounding. While chatting, she suddenly remembered what happened 2 days before Ning Huaiming's birthday last year. Early that morning, Zhu Yuji had been happily holding a huge kite her senior brother had made for her. She came looking for Ning Huaiming, planning to go out and play with him. But he wasn't in his room. Just as she was about to look for him elsewhere, that she smelled a strange orchid fragrance in the room. She followed the scent and stopped in front of an exquisite square box. After a moment's thought, she picked it up and opened it. Inside was a delicate cloth doll. Zhu Yuji found it strange. Just as she was pondering, her wrist was suddenly grabbed. She looked up to see the kid brother's cold, displeased face. "Who allowed you to touch my things?" Zhu Yuji immediately groveled. She held up the wooden box with both hands to return it and apologized. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I actually came to ask you to fly kites with me. But I shouldn't have gone through your things without permission. I meant no harm." Ning Huaiming saw her quick and sincere apology, and his anger from when he first entered turned into a sigh. He took the wooden box and said, "All right, you can go." But Zhu Yuji didn't leave. Instead, she quickly followed and poked Ning Huaiming. "Brother, hey, where did you get that doll? Do you know that doll?" Before she could finish, she was interrupted by Ning Huaiming's loud and strong reaction. "This has nothing to do with you." Because she was too close, his sudden emotional outburst that made Zhu Yuji lose her balance and stumble back a few steps, falling to the ground. Seeing this, Ning Huaiming came to his senses and realized his reaction had been too extreme and had hurt his little junior sister. "Are you all right?" He wanted to go forward and help her up. But Zhu Yuji, having fallen on her but for no reason, was also unhappy. She leaped up by herself and snorted coldly. "So what if I'm unsteady? You think I'm a pushover, huh? If you want to pinch me, then pinch me. Why did you have to push me?" She picked up the kite with its broken wing and stomped out angrily. Her roaring inner thoughts were also heard by Ning Huaiming. "Senior brother just made this kite for me, and I haven't even played with it yet." Ning Huaiming spoke softly. "Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose." Hearing him say this, Zhu Yuji's tone softened a little, but she still spoke up to warn Ning Huaiming of the hidden danger. "There's a problem with your doll. If you smell the scent on it too much, it will make you fall into a deep sleep. Today I've really learned what it means to have my kindness mistaken for ill intent." Ning Huaiming was shocked to hear this. He hurriedly chased after her, grabbed Zhu Yuji, and confirmed, "What did you just say? The doll is poisoned?" Seeing Zhu Yuji nod affirmatively, "Yes," Ning Huaiming was completely devastated. So that's how it is. Zhu Yuji didn't understand his devastated look. She forgot she was still angry and asked with concern, "Are you okay?" But what she got was Ning Huaiming's cold reply, "It has nothing to do with you." Zhu Yuji was furious. What kind of person changes their attitude faster than flipping a book? I was angry, but seeing you so down, I still cared about you. And in return, my warm face was met with a cold butt. I have a temper too, you know. Ning Qi, if I ever talk to you again, I'm a dog. Senior brother happened to see this scene. What's wrong, little junior sister? He knew that ever since she arrived, she had been closest to Ning Qi. She's always calling him seventh brother, seventh brother. Why is she so angry now? Zhu Yuji, having been given the cold shoulder repeatedly today, was also furious. Senior brother, you be my witness. I'm breaking off all ties with Ning Qi. Zhu Yuji didn't know what a huge mental blow telling Ning Huaiming about the doll was. She only knew her kite was destroyed and her good intentions were betrayed. She was so angry she wanted to break off ties. Senior brother Yi Jing came out just in time and naturally became the witness. Listening to his little junior sister's complaints, the scales, which were already tipped in her favor, tilted even more. He pointed at Ning Huaiming's nose and scolded, "I told you this kid was no good. Look at his gloomy face all the time. You can tell he's full of bad intentions." He then asked Zhu Yuji with concern, "Little junior sister, what did he do to you? Tell senior brother. Senior brother will get justice for you." Zhu Yuji couldn't hold it in anymore and shed tears. "He broke the kite you gave me." Yi Jing was stunned. He thought, little junior sister wants to break off ties with Ning Qi because of this? Ever since she arrived, his little junior sister had been especially close to Ning Qi. He had felt sour about it several times. This is a good opportunity to get little junior sister to be closer to me in the future. In that case, I have to blow this issue up. Then he fiercely accused Ning Huaiming. What? He even laid a hand on you? Zhu Yuji was speechless. Senior brother, your comprehension skills are a bit hard to grasp. But Yi Jing didn't care. He hugged Zhu Yuji. Ning Qi has gone too far. How would he treat you like this? Senior brother will take you back now. We won't play with him anymore. Zhu Yuji nodded. He messed with me. He's picked on someone soft. But that's okay. I'll let him know what an evil cotton ball is. She made a face at the motionless Ning Huaiming. After the two had walked away, Ning Huaiming lowered his head, his eyes filled with unspeakable sadness and regret. He thought about the care and companionship that little girl had given him over the past few years. He picked up the kite from the ground, went back, and spent 2 shichen repairing it before hanging it outside Zhu Yuji's door. He then sincerely explained, "I'm sorry. I was in a bad mood just now. I didn't mean to treat you like that. That box you saw, that was a gift from my family because my birthday is the day after tomorrow. Can you imagine? My own family would use my birthday to try and harm me. They don't even treat me as well as you do. So please don't ignore me, okay?" The proud Ning Huaiming had lowered his head for the first time and said such a long speech. But there was no response from the room. He waited for a quarter of an hour, but the door still didn't open. He lowered his head sadly. "Since you're unwilling to talk to me." Before he could finish, Zhu Yuji's voice came from behind him. "What are you doing standing at my door?" Ning Huaiming turned his head. He saw Zhu Yuji, who was completely oblivious and eating something. It was awkward. Had his moving and heartfelt confession just now been directed at the air? Just as he was thinking of saying it again, the door opened. Yi Jing leaned close to Ning Huaiming's ear and chuckled mischievously. "No need to say it to little junior sister again. I heard it." He ignored Ning Qi's dark expression, pushed him aside, and took Zhu Yuji's hand. "Little junior sister, remember your promise. You can't talk to him, okay? Senior brother has made you a new, bigger, and better kite. Let's go inside and see." He strode in with his head held high, like a victorious general returning from battle. Ning Huaiming tried to follow them into the room, but almost got his nose hit by the door. Yi Jing had seized the opportunity to mock him. Because the door was slammed so forcefully, Ning Huaiming thought the repaired kite fell again and broke. Listening to Yi Jing's voice inside, fawning over Zhu Yuji, Ning Huaiming laughed in anger. "Yi Jing, I'll remember you. I'll pay you back double when I get the chance." After making his threat, he became worried. How can I get the little girl to forgive me? Waiting online, it's urgent. Ning Huaiming knew he had betrayed Zhu Yuji's good intentions. Always proud, he had lowered his head to apologize and beg for forgiveness for the first time. But no matter how sincere his attitude was, Zhu Yuji didn't say another word to him. For the past 2 days, he had been trying all sorts of remedies. This time, Ning Huaiming was really scared. He had truly lost this little junior sister, the only one who made him feel warm. So that night, he knocked on Zhu Yuji's door again, thinking that no matter how she scolded him today, but he must break the ice and make up. A moment after the knock, the door actually opened. His warm-hearted little junior sister was holding a cake, smiling at him and saying, "Happy birthday." The bellyful of apologies he had prepared was forgotten in the face of this scene, leaving him stunned. After a long time, he asked, "You still remembered?" His voice was a little choked. She replied, "Of course. If it wasn't to give you a surprise, I would have come to find you sooner. You have no idea how anxious I've been holding this in for the past 2 days. To maximize the surprise, I suppressed it for a long time. It's called building suspense before the reveal. And to make the cake look like this, I spent a lot of thought and time. Are you very touched now?" Lin Huaiming was indeed touched. What made him even happier was that his junior sister was no longer angry or blaming him. A genuine smile hung on his face. He thought that when it was his junior sister's birthday, he would also give her a surprise that built suspense before the reveal. And so, the scene where he took Zhu Yuji deep into the mountains to see fireflies came to be. The first 2 episodes were all flashbacks. Now, back to the present. Didn't you say you wanted to see shooting stars before? I can't get you the shooting stars in the sky. Consider this me cutting a corner. Zhu Yuji was also moved to tears. "Seventh brother, from now on, you'll be my real brother, born of the same father and mother." Lin Huaiming suddenly found these words somewhat familiar. A scene flashed through his mind. Since we are now real brothers from the same father and mother, we must recognize this bond for life. Today, let's swear an oath of brotherhood. That baby, just a few months old, was his junior sister. He asked out loud, "Have you said something like this to me before?" Zhu Yuji replied, "Don't I say this all the time? You're only just now getting touched." He was about to ask again when a voice he disliked cut in. "I was wondering why I couldn't find junior sister as soon as I got back. So you brought her here." He then squatted down and patted Zhu Yuji's head. "Junior sister, today is your birthday. Senior brother wishes you joy with every passing year. Senior brother brought you a gift. Your mother and the others also sent you birthday gifts. They're in your room now. Why don't you come back with me?" Lin Huaiming's good mood sank with every word from Yi Jing. Vying for favor had become an unspoken understanding between the two. He immediately spoke up, interrupting Yi Jing's coaxing. "Gigi, why don't we hunt some game to roast? Didn't you want to eat the wild pheasants in the forest before? The pheasants here are tender and delicious. One bite will leave a lingering fragrance." Yi Jing shot him a sharp glare. To stop him from taking junior sister away, Ning Huaiming was truly shameless. Zhu Yuji was also surprised by Ning Huaiming's form of address for her. Without a sound, she asked, "Can you even catch them this late at night?" "Ning Huaiming, smilet manning shuli." Others might not be able to, but I can. Yi Jing felt the silent provocation and, not wanting to be outdone, rose to the challenge. "How do you know others can't? If junior sister wants to eat, I, as her eldest senior brother, will naturally not shirk my duty." And so, half an hour later, more than a dozen wild pheasants appeared before Zhu Yuji, while the 2 men were still exchanging daggers with their eyes. Zhu Yuji didn't understand why the 2 of them were acting so strangely. Why were they at odds with each other? Speaking of which, why isn't Master here? Only he can keep these 2 in line. Just as she thought this, she heard the voice she was hoping for. "Indeed, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. You little rascals, eating so well behind your master's back." Zhu Yuji happily rushed over. "Master, you're finally here?" Being between the 2 of them, I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles, like my back was being stabbed, like a fish bone stuck in my throat. Just as the Valley Master was about to speak, he suddenly sensed an attack cutting through the air. He nimbly grabbed Zhu Yuji by the back of her collar and dodged the sharp arrow. His eyes narrowed slightly. Zhu Yuji looked completely bewildered. Where did that arrow come from? If Master had been any slower, wouldn't she have been pinned to the ground? The sudden arrow attack ended the silent battle between Ning Huaiming and Yi Jing. The 2 quickly came over to join them. Ning Huaiming subconsciously moved to protect Zhu Yuji. He took her hand and pulled her into his protective circle. "There are assassins. Quick, retreat." Zhu Yuji still didn't know that on her birthday, she had nearly died by the sword. The mastermind behind it was her own father, Anping. During the 3 years Zhu Yuji had been missing, her scumbag father had sent his trusted aides to monitor Lu Ruyan, all to find Zhu Yuji's hiding place. After much tracking and searching, they finally found it on Zhu Yuji's birthday. They found a way into Medicine King Valley. Just as your highness predicted, the princess consort is meticulous. For the past 3 years, she has used the opportunity of the farm at the foot of the mountain delivering vegetables to secretly send clothes and letters into the valley. "We only followed secretly, without your highness's command." The scumbag father nodded upon hearing this. "It's good that you didn't alert Yinyu Pavilion. This prince does not wish for Medicine King Valley to exist after tomorrow." He gave the order without hesitation. "Little Five, don't blame your father for being ruthless. You were destined to become a pawn. Who asked you to know too much? The Gue family will not let you return safely." Thus, a large group of black-clad, masked men stormed into Medicine King Valley to assassinate Zhu Yuji. "Find them. Don't let them escape." Ning Huaiming led Zhu Yuji, fleeing in the direction the Valley Master had indicated. They entered a hidden cave. Before they could even catch their breath, Zhu Yuji was shocked by the river flowing below. "This height, this river. Master, even if you're not giving us a way out, don't lead us to a dead end." The Valley Master scratched his head in embarrassment. "Well, I had a couple of drinks and forgot." Ning Huaiming thought, and asked the Valley Master with long-held confusion. "I thought that under an attack of this scale, the villagers wouldn't have had time to escape. But on our way here, I noticed there wasn't a single villager in the valley." "Mr. Li, what exactly is going on?" The Valley Master explained that he had them hide long ago. "It's like this. I casually performed a divination today, and the result was great misfortune. I calculated again. It was a disaster that could wipe out the valley, and it was imminent. I couldn't find the three of you, so I had to evacuate the villagers first, and just as I found you, these people attacked. But don't be afraid, my disciples. This place is very hidden. They'll never find it." Just as he was feeling pleased with himself, a burst of dog barks and the assassin's shouts interrupted the Valley Master's laughter. "They must be here. Search carefully. If you can't find them, blow it up." Zhu Yuji and the other two stared in unison at the Valley Master. His confident guarantee had been slapped down in less than a second. The Valley Master responded weakly. "I didn't expect them to bring dogs." He coughed to hide his embarrassment. "Right now, there's only one way." He pointed behind them. "Jump down. There's an undercurrent below. If you follow it, you can get out. The premise is that you survive." Zhu Yuji was exasperated with this unreliable master. "Jump off a cliff? Master, can't you think of a more humane plan?" Just as she finished speaking, they felt the ground shake and mountains tremble, accompanied by falling boulders. It seemed the assassins had lost patience and bombed the escape route, sealing it. They could only move forward. Zhu Yuji, afraid of heights and water, clung to a large rock, unwilling to move. The Valley Master had to be firm. "We can't hesitate any longer. If you jump, you might live. If you don't, we can only wait for death." Neither master nor disciple would compromise. In the standoff, Ning Huaiming walked over and pulled Zhu Yuji up. "If you're scared, hold on to me." Eldest senior brother Yi Jing saw this and fumed, complaining, "Ning Huaiming, you cunning brat. She's my junior sister. If anyone's going to hold her, it should be me." Lin Huaiming and Zhu Yuji both tacitly ignored Yi Jing, solemnly facing the moment they might die together. Zhu Yuji's fear was inexplicably soothed. She let Ning Huaiming hold her as they jumped off the cliff. The moment they plummeted from the height, screams and tears were Zhu Yuji's outlet for releasing her emotions. She hugged Ning Huaiming tightly, her head resting in his embrace, a sign of trust. A moment later, the two fell into the water. Ning Huaiming absorbed most of the impact. Zhu Yuji was in relatively good condition. She looked up and saw a huge boulder not far away, heading toward them. "Seventh brother, be careful. In the current situation, they couldn't possibly dodge the boulder. If it hit them, the best outcome would be serious injury, the worst death." Just as the boulder was about to hit, Ning Huaiming pressed Zhu Yuji tightly into his embrace, while he himself took the full force of the impact with his back. With a loud bang, Ning Huaiming felt dizzy and was on the verge of passing out. The sealed memories in his mind were also knocked loose. It started from when he often heard a baby girl crying in his dreams, then to when his body returned to its adult form, and he was assassinated by the grown-up baby girl with his own cherished dagger. The other party even knew about his rebirth. So, to figure things out, he personally went to the Southern U. By a twist of fate, he met the baby girl from his dreams. To prevent what happened in the dream, he planned to kill the few months old Zhu Yuji, but his plans were always unexpectedly thwarted because of her sincerity and how she treated him like family. Afterward, they fell into a cycle of assassinations together. When he woke from the dream again, they were both in Medicine King Valley, his lost memories having returned. When fatal danger arrived, Ning Huaiming unhesitatingly chose to shield Zhu Yuji with his own body. After being hit by the boulder, he finally recovered his lost memories before passing out. Zhu Yuji used all her strength to drag the unconscious Ning Huaiming to the shore. Her strength exhausted, she sat beside him, panting heavily. Although she was afraid of heights, thankfully she knew how to swim. Otherwise, she would have surely drowned in the water. "Seventh brother," she called out, but got no response. She looked up and was frightened by the sight of Ning Huaiming's tightly closed eyes, his face pale and completely still. She instantly burst into tears. "My brother, don't die. Please don't die." She knew very well in her heart that if seventh brother hadn't shielded her, she would have been the one who died. She forced herself to calm down and began performing CPR. As a transmigrator, she still knew this simple first aid method. After several compressions, it was time for mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. She lifted Ning Huaiming's chin. She leaned down, moving closer to Ning Huaiming's mouth. Just as she was about to press her lips to his, Ning Huaiming's eyes flew open. He was awake. As their eyes met, both of them froze, forgetting to react. The action was hard not to misunderstand. In the end, Ning Huaiming was the first to snap out of it. He rolled over to avoid her and demanded, "What are you doing?" How could Zhu Yuji know the shock the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation had given Ning Huaiming? Seeing that he was alive, she was filled with relief and started wailing again. "Seventh brother, you're awake. I was just about to give you mouth-to-mouth. I almost thought you were dead. It's so good that you're not dead." She cried and threw herself into Lin Huaiming's arms, tearfully expressing her gratitude with snot and tears. "Seventh brother, thank you for saving me again. We all saw that huge rock. You almost didn't make it." Ning Huaiming, who had recovered all his memories, now looked at Zhu Yuji with a complicated expression. He was even more chagrined by his actions during his amnesia. Heavens really knows how to joke. I actually saved her again, and I was even prepared to trade my life to keep her alive. Ning Huaiming, what on earth are you thinking? He struggled internally. He wanted to kill this person who would kill him in the future, but the years they had spent together during his amnesia made him hesitate. Just as he was pondering what attitude to take towards Zhu Yuji, the assassin's search reached their area. The sound of footsteps and conversation from not far away interrupted him. "Go check over there. We need to see them, dead or alive." Ning Huaiming thought this was a good opportunity. He could use the time to think about what to do. He told Zhu Yuji to wait here while he lured those people away. Zhu Yuji quickly grabbed him. "Lure them away? Why? We could just hide in the reeds. They won't be able to find us anyway." Ning Huaiming shot her a cold glance. "Don't forget, they have tracking hounds." Zhu Yuji was convinced. She looked at Ning Huaiming uneasily and asked, "You will come back, right?" Ning Huaiming was silent for a long while before giving an indistinct So, Zhu Yuji waited there for him to return. But she waited until the sky was almost light, and seventh brother still hadn't come back. Her feelings of unease and worry were magnified. She cried out in her heart, "Oh, heavens, heavens, please let me live a few more chapters." Then, she cautiously ran out, planning to go look for him. But at that moment, a sharp blade parted the reeds and pointed straight at her face. The black-clad assassin looked menacingly at Zhu Yuji. "Searched half the night and couldn't find you. So you were hiding here, with death so close." Zhu Yuji's face turned pale. She racked her brain for a way to save herself. She forced herself to stand up calmly, looked at the assassin's descending longsword, and took a deep breath. She put her hands on her hips, confident and arrogant. "Big brother, what a coincidence. To be honest, after a whole night of being chased, you probably don't know this, but my combat record has reached an astonishing 0 wins, 0 losses, and 0 kills. You have no chance of winning against me." The killer arranged by her scumbag father had finally found Zhu Yuji. Just as Zhu Yuji was about to die, Ning Huaiming, who had been gone for most of the day, suddenly appeared. He raised his sword to block, lifted Zhu Yuji with one arm, and with his long sword in the other, cleanly slit the killer's throat. In just one exchange, the killer was dead. It was clear that Ning Huaiming's martial arts were outstanding. After knowing him for so many years, this was the first time Zhu Yuji realized that the young boy knew Kung Fu. It turned out she didn't know him that well after all. The danger was over. Ning Huaiming dropped the long sword in his hand, stroked Zhu Yuji's hair, and asked, "Are you all right?" He didn't mind the bloodstains on his hand, but Zhu Yuji saw them and was startled, instinctively backing away. Seeing this, Ning Huaiming froze for a moment. Then his expression became complicated. You're afraid of me? For him, who had regained his memories, having his hands stained with blood was inevitable. Otherwise, he wouldn't have survived until now. Zhu Yuji's body trembled slightly. She tried to convince herself, he saved me. I shouldn't be like this. But he was just a boy of about 10. Why could he kill so decisively? Should I still trust him? Lin Huaiming heard her inner thoughts and stared intently at Zhu Yuji for a while. He sighed lightly and turned around. You should go. I'll stay here and stop anyone from getting past. This self-sacrificing appearance made Zhu Yuji snap back to her senses. Don't be ridiculous. They haven't caught up yet. With the time it takes to stop them, we could have run to Li already. As soon as her voice fell, she heard urgent footsteps heading towards them. Her body moved faster than her brain. In a flash, she blocked Ning Huaiming. 3 black-clad men also came to a stop not far from them. Her small frame blocking him was basically useless, but her protective gesture still gave Ning Huaiming a jolt. She was clearly trembling with fear. Yet she still stood firmly in front of me. He asked in a low voice, Aren't you afraid of me? Why are you still blocking me? Zhu Yuji also replied in a small voice, You have to give me some time to accept it. Besides, you were already injured from hitting the rock earlier. What else could I do but stand in front? Let's not talk about this now. We need to think of a plan quickly. Looking up at the black-clad men before them again, she couldn't help but wonder why they weren't attacking. Ning Huaiming sighed again and told Zhu Yuji to close her eyes. Why would Zhu Yuji agree? With a great enemy before us, why should I close my eyes? Is it my birthday? Before she could finish, Ning Huaiming knocked her unconscious with a karate chop to the neck. Ning Huaiming reached out and caught the fainting Zhu Yuji. The look in his eyes as he gazed at her was as complicated as it could be. And the assassins, whom Zhu Yuji had thought were there to kill her, knelt on one knee before Ning Huaiming. Greetings, Your Highness. Ning Huaiming gave a faint. The leading black-clad man asked, Your Highness, half an hour ago, we received the signal from the coxcomb bird you released and rushed here immediately. What should we do next? Ning Huaiming raised a finger. He signaled for them to be quiet. Looking at the unconscious Zhu Yuji, he murmured, You shouldn't have stood in front of me. If you knew that I was the one who lured those 2 killers here, I wonder how much you would hate me. It's a pity I couldn't be ruthless to the end. Perhaps these 3 years together were a mistake in themselves. I need to spend some time breaking this habit. After one last look at Zhu Yuji, he rose swiftly and ordered his subordinate to lure Yi Jing over and have him take Zhu Yuji away. As for those killers, leave one alive to report back. Kill the rest. With his departure, he intended to completely sever his ties with Zhu Yuji. The next time they met, he would not show mercy. Ning Huaiming, having recovered his memory, discovered that towards the target he was originally supposed to kill, he had developed feelings. He decided to pull away in time before falling in too deep. So he secretly summoned his own guards, killed all the assassins sent to kill Zhu Yuji, and left the unconscious Zhu Yuji behind without a word. When Zhu Yuji opened her eyes again, she was already lying on a soft bed. Yi Jing was watching over her. Junior sister, you're awake. Zhu Yuji sat up. I am awake. Eldest senior brother, why are you here? Yi Jing honestly replied. After I jumped off the cliff, I was saved by Master. Later, I ran into a man in black. He was holding your sleeve, so I followed him. I ended up finding you lying unconscious on the ground, so I brought you here to hide. As for Master, before he could finish, he was interrupted by Zhu Yuji. What about my 7th brother? She knew Master was so powerful that he would be fine, but 7th brother was injured. Yi Jing felt a little jealous and was also worried that his junior sister would be deceived in the future. He grabbed Zhu Yuji's shoulders and said seriously, Junior sister, listen to me. I suspect those men in black were summoned by your Ning Qi. He took out a blood-stained handkerchief. When I found you, you were unconscious, clutching this handkerchief. I searched the surrounding area, but didn't see Ming Qi at all. This can only mean he abandoned you and left while you were unconscious. Yi Jing's thorough analysis was meant to make his junior sister more wary of Ming Qi. He had always felt that Ming Qi was a deep and calculating person. He was trouble, and his simple junior sister was no match for him. But in Zhu Yuji's impression, Ming Qi was a righteous and considerate young boy. She wouldn't listen at all, and even whimpered petulantly, I won't listen, I won't listen, I won't listen. 7th brother wouldn't abandon me. Seeing this, Yi Jing felt a sense of exasperation. If you keep trusting him, sooner or later he'll eat you up, leaving nothing but bones. Zhu Yuji whimpered and murmured. Then at least he'd leave my bones behind. Other people eat you without even spitting out the bones. He's so nice. I'm going to draw his portrait and have people